We are live.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Friday night with the Muscle Cars and Trucks / Gears and Beer Show. I'm Jason. Below me right now, I got Manny. And to the left, the right of me, I've got Mr. Chris Frezza. We're back once again. We were here last week having a good old time talking cars, trucks, and everything muscled in between. Right?
Don't forget the beer.
So, we're trying to muscle in a lot in an hour.
That's right. That's right. So it was our first attempt at it last night. We had some great guests, had some great comments from everybody. We want to encourage everybody to do the same thing again tonight. Grab your favorite beer like we all do, or whatever you like to drink, cup of coffee or a glass of water, or a protein shake if you're a musclehead yourself. We got a lot to talk about this week.
We sure do. We got a lot to talk about. First, we need to talk about what we're drinking.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
We start with, and I'll start with a wonderful Founders KBS Mackinac Island Fudge beer. One of my personal favorites right now. This is like 12%. It's tasty. Let me just put it that way.
Is it one of those things that tastes so good you keep drinking it despite the fact of how powerful it is, and next thing you know, you're
blotto.
You're hanging onto the edge of the earth to keep from falling off?
That could be
hanging onto the grass to keep from falling off the earth.
Very dangerous.
I think it was I've heard that a couple times, but I think it was my buddy Charlie's grandfather that used to say that a lot. So,
it's true.
Manny, what are you drinking?
I am still drinking like last week. Shorts Splurge. I really like it. It is a double IPA. And according to Shorts, it's an IP. I don't know if you can read it in the lighting, but it says IP Bay. It's Salt Bay, little Salt Bay fellow.
I've seen a lot of the breweries, a lot of the liquor stores around this area posting that on Facebook this week.
Splurge?
Yes.
I found it at Kroger. Okay, so it's everywhere. And it's good that it's everywhere because that just means more people can drink good beer. And we like that.
Right. What are you drinking, Jason?
It's a way to make the world a better place.
This week I'm drinking my standby for the Nashville area. This is There we go. Home style. Lighting ain't the best in here, but I do what I do. There we go. Right there. Bearded Iris Home Style. This is one of my favorite beers of all time because it's just a good, well-balanced IPA. Very, very juicy. I mean, it's pretty dang hazy. It looks almost like piss. I'm joking aside, though.
Cloudy piss.
It's kind of
Episode 2, Cloudy Piss.
Eventually, it will become just that. But for right now, I'll enjoy it for this part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a lot of stuff to talk about this week.
Well, and mostly credit to just the Muscle Cars and Trucks news desk, news desk, the news team. Lucas, Sam, Mike, shout out. So we had a couple of vehicle debuts this week. On Monday, we had the Cadillac CT4V Blackwing and CT5V Blackwing. And, it's a bittersweet introduction because, according to Cadillac, these will be the last V-Series performance cars with gasoline engines, which caps, I think, the first the CTSV, the first generation CTSV was, I think, 2004
correct
or so.
I own it.
Yeah, Chris, you had one, right?
I did.
That's a badass car, man. Those had the LS6?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So ultimately, Cadillac's, I don't want to even say pivoting because that's not even strong enough of a word, but they're rocketing, they're catapulting themselves into a new direction, and it has everything to do with electric vehicles. Whether or not that pans out for them remains to be seen. Cadillac has been trying to reinvent itself for the past 30 years. So you know what I mean? It's at what point do we think that, no, it will work this time, we promise.
Manny, I've seen this article, a lot of articles about this Blackwing name come through the site a lot on Muscle Cars and Trucks. What exactly is Blackwing? Is it a series? What is it?
So Blackwing started with the Cadillac CT6 Blackwing, which is a discontinued product now. It came out I want to say they sold less than 2,000 of them. It was a really niche, low volume product, and the engine was called the Blackwing.
Okay.
It's a DOHC twin turbo V8. However, the confusing part is that these new Blackwing products do not have that engine, and in fact, they share absolutely nothing in common with this bygone full-size sedan that was the CT6 Blackwing. So that said, right, it's a cool name, Blackwing. It's like kind of it's full-bodied, it's sinister. It's not alphabet soup, and I think everyone's pretty tired of the alphabet soup, especially from an American brand like Cadillac.
Alphabet soup.
And so you know, they come across this name, they introduce this name, Blackwing. It's strong. Well, what do you do with V Series? Do you discontinue it? No, got a worse idea. Let's water it down, and let's just make it, you know, very like, I mean, V Series used to mean like Roushes, like this absolutely like balls to the wall performance, like sub brand, and now it's a trim level. You know, it's the CT4V and CT5V, and again, like, what is that? No one really knows. Like, the communication around these cars is not like, the marketing is just it's all over the place, especially now when Cadillac is just going like Hail Mary pass with electrification, and you know they showed an autonomous pod and an autonomous like hover chair at CES, which what does that have to do with performance sedans? What does that have to do, you know, and vice versa? So nothing. So you just kind of get a feel that like Cadillac kind of has two heads right now, and one of them's dying, and then they're just trying to, you know, make sure that the other one, this new head that's emerged out from the other side, is going to survive. So that's all about the electrification, the quote future. Whether again, they're all in, so this has to work.
Talk about the price point.
Price point is very cool because for CT4V Blackwing, what you get is the engine from the ATS-V. People remember that. So the ATS-V had 464 horsepower. This one has 472. So they're able to squeeze out a little bit more horsepower from it. The interior is like worlds better. It's a more complete car than the ATS-V was, and it promises to be even better on the track. It promises to be even better on the road, and just an overall more enjoyable experience than before. And it's going to undercut the BMW M3 by some $10,000, which is, wow, I think, right where they need to play. Going tit for tat in the pricing strategy with the previous generation Cadillac products simply did not work. I don't think anybody, except for a couple of people that were in Cadillac, now out of Cadillac, thought that was a good idea. And with the CT5V Blackwing, that's the direct CTS-V replacement. So you could technically call this a fourth generation CTS-V. What you get is, I think it's, was it 10,000 or 20,000 less than an M5? I don't want to misspeak here. Let's pull the story up, Chris.
I think it was 20,000.
Yeah, so it's basically it starts like just above 80K, and you get 668 horsepower.
Gosh, and it's a good looking car too. It doesn't
good.
It jumps out a little more.
They nailed it on the interior with this one too. There's so much like little details and like little trims and accents. You can get manual and automatic transmissions out of both of them, which is something that, again, it's like they didn't have that before. The third gen CTS-V only came with an 8-speed auto. No one really liked the 8-speed. Everyone liked that. Everyone liked the LT4 though, which is the carryover engine. So where the LT4 and the CTS-V had 640 horsepower, this one is 668. I think I would have to go back and like find the price sheet of a CTS-V, but I think they're like the same. If not, maybe the CT5V might be a little cheaper.
So 84,990. Right.
But a fully loaded one can get up to like 120K. They haven't fully released like the pricing structure yet, but dealers have like early access to this stuff, and they're saying, you know, as much as $120,000, which would make it. I would have to see compared to Escalade where that lands, but it not only might be the most expensive or the most powerful Cadillac ever announced, but also the most expensive ever announced.
You see that right where I'm kind of looking here? That's a manual transmission right there, people.
It's a manual transmission
Wow.
with carbon fiber seats.
That's incredible.
Magnesium wheels. It gets available magnesium wheels, available carbon fiber seats, and just really cool options. And they did a reservation process with this car, kind of like what they did with the Hummer, but it was more limited. It was like 250 reservation slots for each car, and they sold out in minutes.
Wow.
And again, this is a $60,000 car and an $80,000 car, and they're just gone.
What recession?
Well, did you see the reports that Ferrari sold? I think they had record orders last year. This happened in 2009, where like Bentley, Rolls-Royce, Ferrari, all these like supercar brands, exotic brands were recording record sales. And it's just all these people are getting really good at either buying the dip or shorting the market, whatever. Of course, they already drive Ferraris, probably.
Of course.
So, but yeah, so it's really cool, really exciting products from Cadillac, and it really is it's closing a very big chapter for the brand that's going to turn 119 this year.
Wow, that's cool.
19. Wow.
119 years old.
So name notwithstanding, it looks like they're making some pretty good moves.
Name notwithstanding, but like I said, these are the last high octane performance Cadillacs you're going to see, at least for the foreseeable future. GM really doesn't think that there's going to be a future for engines, and like I said, they're going to offer fully electric lineup. By Cadillac will be the first one to integrate a fully electric lineup, and then by the rest of by the next 15 years or 20 years, they'll be completely they'll have a completely electric vehicle fleet for all the brands.
Wyatt, how's it going? Wyatt's messaging in from my YouTube channel. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you are watching this on my YouTube channel, that's just because I am temporarily hosting it until the Muscle Cars and Trucks channel can get its own legs. And then once we get enough subscribers to that, this show will live there. But for right now, I don't mind having you guys crash in mine. And we're also streaming in on our Facebook page too, at facebook.com/ what is it? Muscle Cars and Trucks, right?
Yes.
Muscle Car Truck, I think it is.
Muscle Cars Trucks.
Muscle Cars Trucks.
Yep.
Right on.
Get it right? Muscle Cars Trucks?
Muscle Cars Trucks. Yep.
Facebook.com/ Muscle Cars Trucks.
Yep. So
if you haven't liked that and followed it and all that, you know the drill. Please do, because if you're new to Muscle Cars and Trucks, what's our tagline, Manny?
Don't read about boring cars.
Don't read about boring cars. You're not going to see us report on new seatbelt covers, or
panel boxes, or really anything that's boring. Anything that is sort of the drab of the automotive industry. Although in some cases highly essential. But
true.
We focus on the fun stuff because people like reading about the fun stuff.
That's right. So, I saw this other. You guys had a scoop. Roush trademarks.
So, okay, guys, you heard it here first. Roush trademarked Roush Overland, which to me sounds like Roush is going off road.
Well, they make Roush F-150s and such, right?
They make Roush F-150, Roush Rangers, Roush Super Duties. Ford just introduced the Bronco. The Bronco's coming out this summer. And you got to think that Roush is going to have a piece of that strategy somehow. And Roush, again, so integral in Ford's performance engineering department. Like they're essential. And Roush Overland. So the trademark specifically says that it's for what's it called? Recreational RVs and trailers and stuff like that. I'm like, nah. What's Roush gonna do going in the trailer business? This is
Trailers?
Yeah, like you got to think that with Ford's deep lineup right now of off-road focused vehicles, probably the deepest in the industry right now, even deeper than Jeep. This is just a logical step for Roush. They can't just keep making Stage 3 Mustangs. They can't just keep making Roush Lightnings. This is a huge opportunity for Roush, and I think, like, as anyone in the aftermarket can attest, the past couple of years, at least the past 5 years, you've seen an absolute explosion in this overland space, this off-road vehicle space, where you're just seeing these radically wealthy builds show up at SEMA and also the Overland Expos, and they're massive on social media. And these things are completely off the grid. You can live in them, and it's kind of just where a lot of people are going. And I think it might be because of the sense of dread that everything's going electric, and it's like, there's too much like regulation and controls in what you're being able to do now with performance cars. If you can't tune a performance car, Corvette, right? If you can't do that, well, what incentive is there to stick in that space? You have to, like, as an aftermarket company, you're going to have to adapt and evolve and move into this this market where it's not necessarily about tuning and high octane performance and things like that. It's about, like, suspension and bolt-on and just stuff like that doesn't require ECU calibrations.
Porta potties,
little trailer hitch toilet seat, never hurt anybody. So
who's not going to need that eventually?
And yeah, especially like if you're in the middle of a Zion National Park with your overland rig and you're hanging out there for a couple of weeks.
$180,000 contraption.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta have Manny, I was looking over the Muscle Cars and Trucks site. Is this an article or is this something that
Not
has
yet.
been made
This is a podcast exclusive.
Okay, cool. Podcast. That's old. That's old, man.
Show exclusive. What do you want me to say?
Blog? I don't know.
Live stream.
There we go. That's what it is. It's a live stream.
So there was also another, like, unveil this week, wasn't there? Like another big unveil this week?
Yeah, so a bit of a segue into the off-road. We have the Raptor. And
we talked about this last week.
So, but now we can talk about it. We
talked about it. Now we can.
Now we can really because more details have been made available. So, 3.5 EcoBoost V6 to start with the Raptor. That's the same as before. But Ford isn't telling us the numbers of the output just yet. Next year, they're going to do the Raptor R, which is, everyone's assuming it's going to be a V8. And there's even hope that it's going to be the Predator V8, which is the 760 horsepower engine from the GT500. Absolute monster of a motor. And
somebody's got to go against Dodge.
Well, you got to think, like, okay, here's TRX. Here's the Ram TRX with 702 horsepower. And what it, like, just before the reveal of the Raptor, everyone's like, oh, Goldstar's back. What's up?
Hey, what's up, buddy? Goldstar, G-Man.
So okay. The Raptor is probably going to come on. The base Raptor is going to probably come under 702 horsepower. TRX is at 702 with the price point to reflect. There's, like, I think, a $16,000 difference between the two. So it's pretty big. And then you think Raptor R, which is probably going to have a bit more closer price parity, maybe even a little more expensive than TRX. We don't know. And you got to think, like, this is just the first year of TRX. Stellantis has got an entire arsenal of supercharged V8 engines that they could probably plug into this truck. So there was, a couple. I want to say when we first started the site, we published an early report that the TRX was also being developed with Demon engine, Red Eye engine. So you got to think like TRX Red Eye's got to be coming next with close to 800 horsepower. So you leapfrog Raptor R again, and you might do Demon. Well, technically the Red Eye is a Demon engine. It's a little different, but it's technically the Demon engine.
So is the Raptor going after the TRX truck? Is that what it's designed for?
I think the base Raptor is going to play in the space that it's absolutely dominated in. And despite like there is demand for the V8, absolutely, but the fact of the matter is that the 3.5 EcoBoost V6 is still really powerful. It's still really good, and Ford sells a bunch of them. So it when you just want to talk about economies of scale and making sure that everything fits in the development budget, you might as well use that high output V6.
Sure.
Provided, right? And that you can't just offer this one and done variant of the truck anymore because TRX is here and they're trying to take your lunch money. So you got to play there too, because and also this is the truck space, which is just a giant pissing match all the time. in every facet. So it's like, well, this guy's got more horsepower. Well, this one's got more towing, and this one's got more payload. Well, this one's got a fully reclined seat. Oh yeah,
hey guys,
this one's got class leading diesel fuel economy.
Guys.
But it's kind of fun though, because like it is so competitive here. It's such a sport. As a spectator, it's fun to watch everyone just constantly, especially just keep throwing big haymakers too. What's the
price point? What are we getting at here?
So they haven't announced pricing yet for the base Raptor, I don't believe.
What do you think the best guesstimate is going to be?
I think it's going to be just like the standard Raptor you see now. It's going to be very close.
Which is what?
55?
Yeah. That's what I was thinking, between 55 and 60s.
Yeah, 55, I think. And then TRX comes in at like 70 grand.
Man.
So here's another interesting truck. Here's another plot twist. Rocho, who highly esteemed, published an article from citing an industry analyst who's also highly esteemed, talking about a non-road legal version of the Raptor. And they claimed that was going to be the Raptor R, that the Raptor R was not going to be street legal. And because it was going to get single digit fuel economy, and they said, well, if we just go full ORV, well, we don't have to worry about, DOT like crash standards or anything like that, or even EPA testing or airbags. So like you can get really extreme. And then Ford came out and cleared the air. They're like, no, the Raptor R is going to be street legal. So it's like, okay, well, if that's the case, and the analysts heard that scoop, that intel from a source regardless, you got to think that Ford's already thinking about maybe doing something really radical with the Raptor eventually. What that looks like, it could have just been cross-wiring information. Could have got details on a race truck, but even though they're racing Bronco, I don't know. But that just goes to show, like Ford is so deep now in this space, and everybody else is playing catch up. Like GM doesn't even know what to do here when it comes to like they've got Hummer coming, and they've got some stuff coming with like Silverado. Next gen Colorado and Canyon are a couple years out, but nothing. They don't have body on frame SUVs. They don't have a Super Duty Tremor. They don't have or even like a Ram Power Wagon rival. Ram like Ford and Stellantis have like just this massive depth chart of adventure vehicles from full ton or 3/4 ton trucks, right, down to mid-sizers, right, like the Ranger or the Gladiator. And then you got Bronco and Wrangler, and you've got F-150 Tremor and Raptor. You got Ram Rebel and TRX. You've got just like so much stuff. And so like, again, it goes really exciting. It just goes back to like probably why Roush is going in this overland space.
It's really spooky to see how that shift, the shift going from what it used to be to trucks and EV. It's starting to just migrate over to the news. It's like if you watch, like this is a techie thing, but like web browser dominance. There was a time when Microsoft Internet Explorer was at the top of the heap, but then if you look at the trends and you watch the charts and you see other things come in, it's like it didn't just come out of nowhere, but it came in hard and it came in fast. And that's exactly what's happening. I see happening with the trucks and the EVs. Yep. Speaking of EVs, what about a Raptor hybrid or an EV?
We got to interview some folks from Ford this week, and one of the things that they told us was that the Raptor was specifically meant for Raptor. When I asked them if there was going to be any sort of Raptor hybrid or I framed the question like this, like specifically, so that the syntax doesn't get twisted here. I asked them if the what's it called, the F-150 electric and then the F-150 Power Boost hybrid, if they were designed to support Raptor hardware, and they said no, we designed Raptor to be Raptor. So so that's really interesting. So that basically more or less confirms that they're not going to make a Raptor EV or Raptor hybrid for this generation. But it doesn't really rule out the possibility of Ford still plugging in some Raptor hardware onto the hybrid or the EV in some capacity, maybe calling it something else. Maybe call it the pterodactyl or something.
Well, here's a question. Let's just say that the Hummer finally comes to the surface and it does great. Do you think that Ford would say, okay, you know what? Let's think about that Raptor EV thing. Let's think about it something else, or let's think about it in a different way, and maybe we should do it after all.
Right?
Do you think it could be influenced by the success of the Hummer?
I think the Hummer is going to do really well. There's a lot of you just want to talk about the expediency of the program. It was greenlit in April 2019, and it's going to, at least pending no further delays, have its first few vehicles, I think, coming up late this year. That's radically fast. And we've been in this industry for how long, and we understand why vehicles take so long to develop. We understand when the stages in which they happen to. And this went from green light, let's draw something, all right, let's reveal this. And since we revealed it, we don't have to test in camo anymore. So we can just sort of like phase out that whole process, that whole stage of development, which is really beneficial in a lot of ways. You can more accurately read aerodynamics, cooling, fuel, not fuel economy, but range, mileage, stuff like that. So it's a really exciting breakthrough to see. But I mean, at the same time, they have just sort of just done things in a different order, where instead of revealing the vehicle at the end of it, they're doing it at the beginning, and then they're sort of coming it through. But Rivian and Tesla are doing it like that.
Yep.
Lucid is doing it like that. And I think I'm trying to think of some others.
It's amazing.
That's just yeah. So that sort of disruption is causing GM to think differently and try new things.
I was just reading the EV. Speaking of EVs, another article that you guys put out this week. I'll touch on that in a second. We're about halfway through the show, give or take. If you're tuned in to the Muscle Cars and Trucks weekly recap, I'm seeing we got about 4 people here right now watching. Hold on, let me double check that. They're watching from the In Jason's Garage YouTube channel that I'm hosting it. Throw your comments into the chat. We want to see what you're thinking about what we got going on so far. I see Galtzar. God, I hope I said that right. I may never know. I'll just call you G-Man from now on. Is here. Wyatt, I don't even know how to pronounce your name either. It's Wyatt Oneable? Wyatt Oneable. Wyatt Wyatt on the table, and a couple other ones as well. So please feel free to chat. Tell us, what you think about what we're talking about, and so on and so forth. And feel free to subscribe to the Muscle Cars and Trucks Facebook page, facebook.com/musclecarstrucks. So back to what I was saying. Wyatt Oneable. Okay, I was right. All right, thanks. Thanks, Wyatt. I don't even know what that means. Oneable. So we got a lot of EV talk going on. 10 years ago, we would have thought we would have never talked this much about it, much less believed it was going to happen. And now look at how much times has changed. But you wrote an article about a supply issue that might, I don't know if I want to use the word threaten the EVs, but what kind of impact is it going to have on EVs? Tell us about that.
So currently the industry is facing a microchip shortage, and it's forcing plants, GM included, to shut down because they can't get these microprocessors. And that's just one shortage of one thing. Just imagine if in this all-electric future that there's actually a battery like metals shortage.
Wow.
What then? There's always this, the alarmism of we're going to run out of oil. Well, yeah, eventually. But what if there's nothing that says that we're going to anytime remotely soon. But we're already kind of seeing, and again, there's constantly kinks and wrinkles in this supply chain for electric vehicles. And one of these things is that a lot of them just rely on the same types of metals, and they're mined in far away places using questionable means. And at the end of the day, we have to wonder if is that good for the earth? Is it net positive at least? And that's a very open question. It's a very complicated answer. There's a lot of data points you need to consider to truly get the answer. And, the best anyone can say is, even all things considered, is no one really knows. But and hence the sort of the frustration. This is like, well, why are we doing this if no one really knows? But there was a study conducted by Adamus Intelligence, and they specialize in tracking demand for EV batteries by their chemistry, their cell supplier, their capacity in over 90 countries.
Wow.
And just using Tesla, and this is important here, they only use Tesla. They didn't consider GM's electric vehicle strategy. They didn't consider Rivian. They didn't consider Lucid, NIO, anybody else, Ford, just Tesla. And they extrapolated Tesla's current figures out to 20 million annual sales. Say they do. Say they might. They say they sell 20 million annually. And if they don't, 20 million is a very realistic figure for global EV sales in, we'll say 20, 30, 40, if everything truly goes according to plan.
We'll be old.
So you still kind of want to make sure that, the next generation isn't getting railroaded.
Mm-hmm. So I don't care. I'll be dead. Cheers.
Anyway.
Sorry, Manny.
Anyway, so according to this index, Tesla will need more than 30%. 30% of all the mined nickel produced globally in 2019 in order to build those vehicles. Excuse me. That's equal to the total output of the top 6 nickel producers in the world.
Wow.
And so furthermore, the global nickel production actually dropped by 20% in 2020. So if nickel production's dropping, why is it dropping? Is there a shortage? Are they having trouble mining the nickel, finding the nickel? And since it's dropped, that 20 million is going to be an even higher percentage, an even larger chunk of the pie. That said, nickel might not even be the most important metal moving forward. Battery chemistry is moving at a really rapid pace. But if not nickel, then what? Cadmium, then if not cadmium, silver, if not silver, gold. Like, it's really tricky to pinpoint what it's going to look like in terms of battery chemistry, battery technology, even 5 years from now, because it does move so fast. And Tesla, again, for Tesla, it needs a lot. You need a lot of graphite to make these batteries too. And for 20 million vehicles, if for 20 million EVs, and say again, like nothing changes, like battery chemistry, everything's the same. The automaker will need the equivalent of 94% of the world's natural graphite production.
Is that all?
Yeah. So basically, all of the world's natural graphite. And then miners produced some 77,000 metric tons of lithium in 2019, and that may seem like a lot, but Tesla will need 127,000 tons, so almost double the amount of lithium annually to build 20 million vehicles.
Well, next week we'll just get Elon on the show here, and we'll ask him what he's going to do about it.
Yeah, I'd love to ring him up.
I'd love to poke Elon's brain. I'd love to poke, honestly, like anybody who's an expert in this space, because I'm kind of a knucklehead. I don't know, but Adamus Research is expert in the space, and we're citing them. So
we have a friend who might know a little bit about it. His name is Al.
Can you call Elon?
No, let's get Al in here. Screw Elon. Elon doesn't have the time to talk to us. Al will make the time. In fact, I'm going to go downtown tomorrow, and I'm going to pick up a 4-pack of M43 just to have on hand in case that happens.
Well, you let me know. I'll clear my schedule.
Chris, you think we can reach out to Al?
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
We might need like someone who just oversees the battery stuff.
Never mind that. I want to talk to Al. He's our friend.
Let's just call him up and talk about Camaro stuff.
I think I got his number.
You think he'll want to talk about Camaro?
No.
Okay. I don't think so either.
I would always want to talk about Camaro. Come on.
I don't have his number anymore. Well.
Anyway,
I got a whole lot of people in my phone that I don't even know anymore.
TLDR, guys. The outlook, for all this stuff is still very open-ended. Which is another way to say it's very uncertain, and it's tough to really like chart the course if we can't secure, like if there's not enough metals on this earth, period, to build all these electric cars.
Just really weird.
Sorry, just let me. I want to make one point.
Sure.
So, like, a vehicle can be crushed. Like, it's largely recyclable, and you can take an engine, which it's metal, it's aluminum, it's iron, melt it, recast it, make another one. You can do that,
right?
Like, times infinity. You can't do that with batteries.
Why not?
They physically deteriorate. Like over time they break down.
Uh-huh.
And so it's not as simple as just like melting. You don't want to melt a battery pack, right? You can recycle them. You can make them you can use them in like low output scenarios, like you can use them to help power a house or something. But there really hasn't been a a good second life solution for batteries, nor has there been a good technique to really recycle them like as there is with iron. So and again, from just speaking in terms of the United States, America's got everything it needs to build a gas or diesel. We've got metals, we've got oil, and the metal we don't have, we can recycle, and we can produce more metal things with, because that's the cool thing about metal is it's very recyclable, and we don't have like cadmium mines. We don't have cobalt mines. There isn't this sort of like rare earth metals located here. It's all mined in faraway places. It's like it's South America, northern Canada is like another. It's you think Canada's like, I can see Canada. It's over there. I live in Michigan, but the places these mines are really far away, and also again like a kind of out of sight, out of mind type of thing, where it's like the automobile in a city is like, if you're asthmatic especially, right, you're constantly dealing with like fumes, you're dealing with CO2 or NOx depending on if it's gas or diesel vehicle, and that's not good for you, but like that's just what you see. You don't see the sort of like the effects of mining for battery metals. You don't see what it does to the environment in a location that's far away from you, or how it happens, or what they use to mine it. So like mining equipment is massive, and it's very, very like resource like intensive. Like a lot of fuel, a lot of emissions, and again, very open-ended question and very open-ended answers to like whether or not if all of that is actually going to be so good for the environment that it's going to make any difference. That's the sort of like, that is the ongoing questions that I'm trying to answer for myself, and it's really freaking hard because there isn't a lot of like hard data to find. There, you do have research studies, you have things like that, but a lot of it is like you're kind of on your own. You kind of have to go do your own homework, and I'm really trying. I'm really trying to not like mess it up, but it's tough.
So what you were saying is that you can make an engine out of an engine out of an engine out of an engine, but making a battery out of a battery would be like trying to say that would be like trying to make gasoline out of exhaust fumes. Kinda.
You need like to make one new good battery, you'd probably need like 20. I really don't know, but like multiple old used batteries.
Sure. G-Man said that the batteries transform the lithium into energy, consumes the lithium to electricity, and then done. I wonder how many people don't know that when they think, oh yeah, electric vehicles, it's just there forever. Once you build the car, it's gonna be there forever. So, well, I'm hoping that they like you said. I hope that it's not, the technology evolves fast enough to where that's not an issue anymore.
We are at a cusp of a new industrial complex. Like we have to realize that. With that will come a lot of advancements and a lot of improvements in quality, a lot of improvements in process, kind of like really ironing out the supply chain and understanding more about it. But we don't know how long it's going to take. And, like we don't know the sort of like the means to the end.
Yeah.
Type of question.
Oof,
but
interesting.
When every, developed nation in the EU, the United States, I think Canada's even in it now, Japan, Korea, China, when they're all pushing towards electrification, what choice does an OEM have? If they want to be in the business of making new cars, what choice do they have? They don't have choice.
Wow. It's a never-ending fight just to build freaking cars. You've been in the industry long enough, you know how hard it is. Yeah.
It's the most arguably, maybe outside of aerospace, it's probably the most regulated industry out there. And
I'd agree with that.
And in some ways unfairly so.
So is this something that you're gonna keep reporting on as time goes on, as EVs start to gain in popularity and the popularity, and the manufacturers start pumping up more electric vehicles? This is probably this article that you've got here on Muscle Cars and Trucks about EVs facing that mining supply issue. This is going to have, that's probably going to be an ongoing segment. Yeah.
I want it to be. I'm gonna keep digging. I'm gonna keep doing homework. It just, there's so much data to parse through, and it does, like, I really just kind of doing this on my time when, you know, I'm not quarterbacking the news desk. So
Sure.
You know, if anyone wants to help contribute to this, just to get to the bottom of it, one way or the other, like because I'm not, like I said, I'm not anti EV. I've had 2 Volts, like I said last week.
You autocrossed it.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to say that it's like, well, no, it's like I have my defense. It's kind of like, you know, how some people maybe defend certain comments based like on the, you know, they might have a friend of a certain race and they're just like, oh no, well, my friend's this race, so I can say that. It's like, I'm not trying to frame it out like that, but I just want people to understand that I'm not anti-EV, and
I don't think. Yeah. Okay.
Like if it is gonna like help the planet, if it's gonna, I don't think anyone here wants to like watch the world honestly burn down, honestly be like left worse than when you left it.
Well, I think a few people might, but I'm not going to name names.
People might, but they're jerk offs, and you know what? Like, there's not enough of them to really. I don't think there's enough of them to really like to pay any mind. I think most people are. I think honestly, like most people are very like they want to be altruistic. They want to be good natured. They want to help, at least to help their neighbor. They want to. Like, they don't just want to be mean or to watch things get worse. So for me, this is just a question. It's a big, hard question that I'm trying to get answered, and it might take a couple of years till I really get it answered. I might have to talk to some people, some of them who I probably won't like, some of them who will have really, really wildly different and arrogant perspectives compared to mine. And they might think that I'm wildly different and arrogant compared to them. So it's something that it's heavy and it's deep and it has consequences. And also, you know, asking these questions have consequences because people don't want you to ask these questions. They just be like, get with the program, stupid. What are you doing?
You're not gonna become like, you know, the next Jimmy Hoffa, an investigative journalist type of thing, where suddenly you ask the wrong question to the wrong people and you end up, you know, dead.
Well, I mean, you don't have to. You can equate like there are actual journalists who get blackballed for trying to ask good questions.
Well, don't do that.
Is this a good way to segue to the next story then?
Manny, I would like to see where this goes. If you all are interested in where this goes, of course you know where to go by now, musclecarsandtrucks.com. Follow along. Got a newsletter too. Sign up for that. Yeah, there's a couple spots on the site that you can't miss. Sign up for that. You get a free daily newsletter, the 10-second newsletter, where you can see all that you might have missed the day before. It's lightweight.
10 seconds.
Yep.
You know, everywhere we got, you know, you might someday you might see a dozen stories from a day.
Yep. But it's all easily digestible and it's free and no spam involved. So we've been talking about EVs and stuff like that, but let's talk about killing some dead dinosaurs. We're talking about racing. Let's talk about racing. Let's talk about Ford Bronco racing. We've got a Ford Bronco story, which, Chris, I see you pulled up on the screen. And then after that, we got to talk about Corvette racing. We got to talk about some racing. All right,
so
I'm going to go get another beer. I'll be right back.
All right, I'll touch on this. So the Bronco 4600 previews how customers can go racing off-road. This was revealed this week during the King of the Hammers event happening. I think the actual event is happening tomorrow. And the Bronco 4600 will begin competing in Ultra 4 stock class this year. And it demonstrates how customers can prep their 2021 Bronco 2-door or 4-door to complete in the Ultra 4. And like not just King of the Hammers, but like, you know, all the other competitions too. It like they presented it in a cool like racing livery and things like that. It's actually a stock 2.7 liter EcoBoost V6 with the 10-speed automatic. but it's running the competition. It's a specific competition-tuned Haas suspension system. Haas stands for High Performance Off-Road Stability Suspension. And it's not quite as radical as the Bronco R. It's more like something that you can order parts from Ford Performance, piece together, and then take it to an Ultra 4 event out west. And that's really cool. And, you know, I shared this on a couple of Bronco pages, and they're like, "Oh, we don't even have the production Bronco yet. Like, they just need to focus on selling, getting us the Bronco. We just want the Bronco. My order is confirmed. I want the Bronco." And it's just like, okay, bro.
Like a Adam Sandler character right there.
Thanks. So it's like, it's full of really cool hardware. A lot of it is going to be available from Ford Performance, which is really sweet. And it's just another like cool way. And again, like, you want to, like, let's kind of go back to like the beginning of the show. We were talking about the off-road space blowing up. It's also, I think, in motorsport, it's getting crazy popular too. And I think you're starting to see like kind of gentleman racing series like shrink, autocross like leagues shrink, and then it's going full bore into like rock crawling and desert racing and Baja racing and trophy trucks and things like that, which is, you know, it's almost like, again, without like having a ruler and measuring out like how many people are showing up at one event versus the other per year, you just kind of get a feel that it's happening. And it almost feels like it's exactly those people coming from the track and like going to like these off-road racing series. And like, for example, they have, so just to close on the Bronco 4600, pricing is unclear at this time. So we're just going to have to wait for that. We'll probably understand a bit more about it, you know, at least when the Bronco finally reaches dealerships. But Vaughn Gittin Jr., so the Formula D champion who won with Mustangs, went on to help co-develop the Mustang Mach-E 1400, which I got to ride in. It's an insane, I think it has 7 motors.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's stupid fast. I think it has like 1,400 horsepower. And it sounds like the most like powerful like power tool you've ever heard. It's just this, like, someone took like the biggest Milwaukee drill and put it like right up to your ear, and it just went like, that's what these sound like. And like like you've seen like E-Copo run, or and like there's also the E-Cobra Jet, like Mustang came out with an electric dragster too. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like the same thing, just like massive power drill. And so like that's a cool sound, not gonna lie. Is it as cool as a fire breathing pushrod V8, you know, having captive explosions just like 3 feet in front of you? I don't know. It's different. But Vaughn Gittin Jr. is actually going to compete in a Bronco 4600, which again, they like the guy is now doing everything from Formula D to this free-for-all Mach-E 1400 project to Bronco 4600's off-road thing, which is like completely different wheelhouse for him. And so you just got to see like he's a Ford marketing ambassador, Ford performance ambassador. And so like where he's going, like you got to think that that's where Ford is sort of like aiming the gun. So like they're aiming it, and kind of like what you said earlier, Jason, it's like they're aiming it in the EV space, Mach-E 1400, and then off-road, the Bronco 4600. So it's like, you know, if you want to just put your finger on the pulse, you can see it happening in real time with Ford. And then there's also the Bronco 4400, which is like a totally prepped like off-road race truck, and it's actually going to make its competition debut this week or tomorrow during King of the Hammer. So we'll see how it does. And I think there's 3 of them. Racing. So really cool. And so they're actually competing in the Ultra 4400 and limited class. So it's like not they don't look like Broncos anymore. You know, kind of like how like a NASCAR Mustang is not relative to a production Mustang. It's like very like like it looks like you put some vinyl lights in the front, and I guess that's a Mustang somehow, but it's kind of the same thing. These like are very different. But also like these are now like the third iteration of a Bronco race truck. Like they had the Bronco R for Baja 1000, and they had the Bronco 4600 for like the for the hobbyists, and now here you go with the 4400, which is like a far more prepped race truck. And again, Von Gittens, he's got a Bronco 44. They gave him a Bronco 4400 as well, and it's really cool.
Thanks, Manny. I'm looking at the chat.
You're welcome.
And I'm rather confused on what's going on here. G-Man, he said last time he went on a full-blown rant on Corvette when I asked what he does. And I said, who, Manny? And he said, I asked, what do you guys do? And he dodged the question by going on a rant about Corvette engines.
I didn't see the question until later. Sorry.
I didn't see the question. What do you guys? I didn't see the question at all. Did I miss that entirely?
So what do I do? I'm the editorial director of musclecarsandtrucks.com. I've been an automotive journalist. I've been an automotive journalist since 2009.
Yeah, Manny writes about cars. Oh, last time we streamed. Well, if it was towards the end of it, we were all 3 sheets in. So, sorry about that. Yeah. So Manny writes about cars. He writes and writes and writes and writes and writes and writes and writes.
I don't do a lot of writing anymore. I mostly I do housekeeping and Sam.
And he leads a team of writers on
musclecarsandtrucks.com. I'm their the belligerent captain,
the boss.
That's right. And he went on a rant about Corvette engines.
How about Corvette Racing rules Rolex 24-hour at Daytona with a 1-2 finish?
Thanks for clarifying, G-Man, by the way, and I hope we answered your question. All right. 1-2 finish. And one of the drivers got COVID during the race.
Tony Garcia got COVID. They pulled him out of the car in like the 17th hour. They immediately like ushered him into isolation. And that was that.
And the next driver said, I'm not getting in that car.
They had a race to finish. They won. That was the winning car. So like if you
Hope it was worth it.
So Garcia, like he had a bit of adversity like leading up to this race. His grandfather died, and he was really close to him. He was passionate, and everyone, his family loved watching him race. And this was kind of like coming in. It was a big one. They ended up winning, but it was even worse that Garcia couldn't be on the podium with Nicky Katzberg and Jordan Taylor. And thanks, G. Let's go. And so, anyway, how did he get COVID in the carbine track? Good question. So Antonio Garcia lives in Spain, and he took like an early like test to so Garcia took an early test because he wanted to get it out of the way so he could fly home and just go home. Well, because he took the early test, and that early test came out positive, and so they're just like, you gotta isolate, dude. Sorry. But they didn't know up until like the test results came in, which I think was like he was literally in the car.
And then the results came in while he was.
Yeah. And so like they pitted him, and they're like,
who, me? What? Me? You want me?
Yeah.
That's what it looked like. I saw it. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys watched the Daytona race. Again, like usual, really dramatic finish. Wayne Taylor Racing won again. This time not with the Cadillac. They used to be they were running Cadillac DPIs since the introduction of the class, since the introduction of the race car. When they phased out the the Corvette DPI, and then they introduced the Cadillac DPI, and those cars look so sick. Like this race, Jimmy Johnson was in a car, and he brought like his sponsors with him. He brought Ally, and so the Ally car was like had this really cool like pink, purple, like gray like livery to it. It was so badass. And then the same thing, Chip Ganassi Racing had one, and it was like this very like ever so slightly blush of gray. It looked like a spaceship, and that car was leading pretty much most of the race. It was leading all night, and then at the end, it was like the last couple of hours, 2 flat tires, and you just saw the Wayne Taylor car sort of just creep away, and then everything was like 8 minutes left. 8 minutes left. So Chip Ganassi, this race car, I think it had Kevin Magnussen, who was on the F1 driver, who was on the Haas F1 team. They had K-Mag. They had, oh man, who else did they have? They had, I think they had Tomoe Kobayashi. And, oh man, I got to look up the driver because there were so many. The Cadillac teams were absolutely stacked with like really popular, well-known names.
Yeah.
And I gotta find who else was racing with them. I can't really.
Well, while you're looking that up, a quick shout out to my friend Race City Woodworks. If I'm not mistaken, woodworking business located in Mooresville, North Carolina. Thanks for jumping into the episode. If I got the wrong Race City Woodworks, then please correct me, because I just did a search and found an Instagram account named after that. It looks like you do some pretty awesome work. So thanks for joining the show, by the way.
North Carolina is a lovely state.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still. I think one of them had Scott Dixon too, which again, like the IndyCar goat. Like it's just an absolutely stacked like group of drivers. Cadillac, Chip. I can't believe I'm drawing a blank here, guys. Sorry.
Oh, what's wrong with you? You mean you can't remember everything that you write about? How dare you? How dare you?
How dare you?
How dare you?
Yeah, it's Magnussen. Oh, Ranger Vanderzand. So he used to drive for Wayne Taylor Racing, and he moved to Ganassi for this one.
Cool.
And then I think Kobayashi was the third guy.
Huh.
And then it was now I'm starting to draw a blank for the Jimmy Johnson car.
Again, while you're looking that up, Auto Young jumping in here. There you go. Y'all talking about the new V Series Cadillacs? Man, you just missed us by about an hour.
Yeah, that was our first one.
That was one of the first topics we talked about. So you'll be able to, rewind and see this when it's all said and done. But also head over to musclecarsandtrucks.com. That's what the show is all about. It's about the news and articles that get broken, and there's a lot of them in recent days about the V Series Cadillac. Well, the Blackwing, the Black VCTs 5, 4, and 3, and 7, and 8, and 9, 3.14. So check it out there, and you'll have your answers. Thanks for giving us the opportunity to answer that, though.
Yeah, Blackwings are badass. They're, it's just again bittersweet because it's kind of it. Like it's that book is closing. So I did find the team rundown. So the number 48 car, which is Jimmy Johnson's NASCAR number. Keep in mind he retired. So you had Johnson, Simon Pagenaud, who's an IndyCar driver, Tomoe Kobayashi, who used to drive. He's done WEC. I think he had an F1 stint. He won Le Mans in 2019, or was it 2020? Shit. So he won with Fernando Alonso and Jordan Taylor. Like, again, the F1 driver won with Alonso, and I actually got to meet Kobayashi, which is really cool.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was at the Daytona 500. He was he stayed in America which the Daytona 500 usually happens like 2 weeks after the 24 hours of Daytona. Same track, same place. So I think he stayed there for 2 weeks. Saw the Daytona 500 happen, and we were kind of in the same like hospitality suite. And like my buddy Mike Accardi, shout out Mike, who helps us with the
Hey, yeah.
So Mike and I went. So he shot the Daytona 500 that year on like camera film, and just came out with the most wicked looking, coolest shots of the cars. But he's just like, that's Kobayashi's son. I was like, oh, should we go say hi? He's like, yeah. Super cool guy. We caught Jordan Taylor as his alter ego Rodney Sandstorm in the infield, and he was walking around. He's got the old Jeff Gordon DuPont leather jacket, like a nice one, right? He's got basically, what are they called, Pit Viper sunglasses.
Oh God, yes.
Jorts and New Balances, Velcro shoes, and I don't know. Like if you've seen his Jordan's alter ego, he's hilarious. And so
it's
just like we see him, and then like some like big Billy Bob dudes, like sort of like kind of like come up to him, and one of them, he was a little, he was probably 3 sheets, and grabs Jordan by the collar of his jacket. He's like, "Well, what jacket is this?" And like literally like picks Jordan up. Like the guy was like the size of a college like lineman, like huge guy. Picks him up and just tries to like read the tag, like as Jordan's still in his jacket.
He's still wearing it.
Yeah, and like everyone's just like, "Oh my God!" Like, do you realize what you're doing right now? But so like, and that's Florida though for you, man. And that was kind of the crazy thing too. Is just the people walking around in the infield and just seeing like the absolute craziness that's going on down there. I love going to races like that. Like I've been to like Daytona 500. I've been to the F1 race in Montreal. I've been to 24 Hours of Le Mans, and they all have their own very unique, special like feel to them. I think Le Mans is my favorite, but the Daytona 500 is something.
I was at Talladega once in the early 2000s, and when I was working for Ford Racing.
Yeah.
And that was an experience for the first time NASCAR race. Holy crap! As big as I'm like, I can't even see the end of the track from where I'm sitting, and it's connected. It was pretty interesting. I got to make a pause real quick. I'm looking at the chat again. Chris, you see that Otto Young? He's better known as AJ, the resident Mustang guy.
Yep.
And G-Man from Sweden, thank you for staying up late at 4 a.m. Still watching us. Appreciate you.
4 a.m.
Are you just up early though? You go get an early riser?
You know what? I think he knew we were coming back, and he just stayed up all night just to listen to us run our mouths.
Yeah, well, isn't it like in Sweden right about now that the sun doesn't rise for quite a while, kind of like Alaska?
It's all the same latitude, right?
Yeah.
I've heard nothing but wonderful things about Sweden.
Beer's good.
G-Man, can I move in with you? I want to move to Sweden. I'm moving in.
I want to go to Norway.
Came from the Camaro show.
That's right. AJ, the resident Mustang guy.
Yeah.
We told you on the very last podcast episode a few weeks ago that we weren't done, that we would replace it with something, and we did mention muscle cars and trucks, and then this show came about 2 weeks ago, and we're like, let's resurrect the Gears and Beers show that Chris and I started in 2014 and got 3 or 4 episodes in, and here we are. So we appreciate you all being here. Manny, your insight is always really incredible to see and hear about what that is. What else do we got going on here in the weekly recap that's important? A couple other notes that let's talk about setting the record straight or at least trying to set the record straight. So I saw in my new news feed. What's that?
Oh, I know what you're going to say. Yes.
Chris, what'd you say? I didn't hear you.
I said continue.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I saw in my newsfeed a lot. Edelbrock closing their doors. Edelbrock. I never saw it going out of business, but that's what all of the headlines alluded to. And even though I'm not a big Edelbrock consumer, I'm still an Edelbrock fan. I mean, anybody who's turned a wrench on an engine, even doing basic crap, knows Edelbrock, as some people would say.
Edelbrock, yes.
But here's the deal.
Sounds like a cheese.
Edelbrock?
Or a beer. It's like Edelbrock Doppelbock.
That's right. That's a good...
Yeah.
It'd be really cool to make the Edelbrock logo the same way as the Edelbrock and then get sued by them. Because as far as I know, they're not going out of business. They're just moving their headquarters from California to Mississippi. But most of the articles that I saw didn't say that. I think they were headline grabbing to allude that Edelbrock is going out of business, to make people click in, to make people go, oh my God, not Edelbrock. And then to find out they're just moving out of California like, well, who else? Magpul moved out of California. Was it Magpul that moved out? Gun stuff. But Tesla.
Why are gun and car companies in California? Why is any business in California? To be frank,
I think Magpul wasn't in California. They were somewhere else, but they moved to Texas.
Maybe they like the beach. I don't know, the weather. I don't
know. What other companies are moving to Edelbrock's moving to Mississippi. Who's moving to Texas? Tesla. Right.
They're going to build a Cybertruck there.
Yep.
This year or next year?
My apologies. Magpul was in Colorado. But they moved to Texas too. So
Colorado's changed teams.
Yeah. Right. We're starting to see an interesting trend though. It's if I can't do my business in your state the way that I feel is right for my business, I'm going to take my business to another state.
As you should.
I mean,
I agree with that.
It's California, right? It's a beautiful place.
Gorgeous. Great food, great weather.
Good beer.
And great beer, but you got to pay the sunshine tax. That's what I call it, the sunshine tax.
Florida, yeah. And it's like, those are the good weather tax. But like, you've got your earthquakes, you got your smog, you've got your crime from like just the homeless crisis. You've got
the mudslides. You've got your
mudslides. You've got your high taxes. You've got your really just like neighbors. Like
you got the homeless people that can move into your backyard and you can't do anything about it. Tax.
Like and it's just kind of gotten a bit too like out of
free for all,
out of sequence, right? And I think of SpaceX. Cool. I like space. I like rocket ships.
I like Elon.
Yeah.
I think Elon
had a really bad accident this week.
Yeah.
What? Who
did? There was a rocket crash.
Oh, SpaceX.
Yeah. Just
like the stock market. Or no. So the stock market is doing fine. But like if you were a Redditor and going all in on meme stonks, you were not doing fine.
You said stonks last week too. I'd never heard the term stonks before. What is stonk? Am I an old man already? And I just what are you kids talking about?
It's literally just it means what you think. It's stock, but stonk. It's so. Have you ever seen the not an accident, a test?
Gee, man, you're right.
Yeah,
they just knew how to fail one less time, and I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean that's all engineering is breaking stuff,
or one less way, I should say.
Engineering is literally breaking things. I like rocket ships. I have nothing to add. I wish I followed. I used to follow when I was a kid. I still love them, but I used to read all about airplanes, and jets, and stuff. But I never really dove into rockets.
I just like the word rocket. I always thought it was kick-ass.
It's because it implies phallic things.
Well, yes, it does, but that's not why I liked it. Wasn't there an engine in an Oldsmobile called a 350 Rocket?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's why.
Rocket
that's why because I remember a buddy when I was 13 or 14, his dad gave him a car and to fix up and have it ready when he was 16 years old, and he's like, yeah, it's got a 350 Rocket in it. I'm like, I don't even know what that is, but it sounds freaking awesome. You have a 350 Rocket engine.
That
in
was
your
one of
car.
the original muscle car engines. Like the original muscle car, like the roots of the muscle car before Camaro, before Mustang, before the Mopars, there was the Oldsmobile Rocket 88.
Mm-hmm.
Not to be confused with the Jado Rocket.
The hell is that?
Oh God, you are too damn young to be on this show talking to us. Right? Where are you?
I'm here. You got it right.
G-Man, test failed. Test again. You're in the software industry, aren't you?
Back in the early 90s, there was people communicated on mailing lists, and there was an urban legend that somebody put Jado rockets on a car and put it into what, like a cliff?
There was some sort of urban legend about some guy that got their hands on a Jado rocket and attached it to his car and went out on and of course, just like in any urban legend, the story changed depending on who told the story or whatever. But end of story, the car disappeared, the driver disappeared, and then one day they found it embedded in the side of a cliff because it just like Wile E. Coyote.
I'm sure if you
no. Really?
I'm sure if you Google Jado Rocket urban legend, you can read all about it.
Jado Rocket car. Here it is, right here. Oh, actually, somebody actually did it. Urban. Well, actually, yeah. Remember, it was one of the original Darwin Award winners. Remember the Darwin Award?
Yes.
Oh, it started off in a Usenet posting before mailing list, which was before message boards, which was before Facebook, before I might as well be talking about 8-tracks. About the fellow that was killed by a Coke machine, and you know what? Just go to Wikipedia and search Jato Jato rocket car, and you will see. MythBusters did it in 2003. They tried it and it failed.
Well, I assume that it just explodes on impact.
Let's see here. As Darwin was in Arizona Highway Patrol came upon a pile of smoldering metal embedded into the side of a cliff.
Oh, there we go.
Rising above the road at the apex of a curve. The wreckage resembled the site of an airplane crash, but it was a car. The type of car was unidentifiable at the scene. The lab finally figured out what it was and what happened. It seems that a guy has somehow gotten a hold of a JATO rocket, which is a jet-assisted takeoff, a solid fuel rocket that's used to give heavy military transport planes an extra push for taking off from short airfields. He had driven his Chevy Impala out into the desert and found a long straight stretch of road, and then he attached the JO unit to his car because you can just carry those things around, right? Jumped in and got up some speed and fired the JO. What's the worst that could happen? The facts as best could be determined is that the operator of the 1967 Impala hit JATO ignition at a distance of approximately 3 miles from the crash site. This was established by the prominent scorched and melted asphalt at that location. The JATO, if operating properly, would have reached maximum thrust within 5 seconds, causing the Chevrolet Impala to reach speeds well in excess of 350 miles per hour, continuing at full power for an additional 20 to 25 seconds. The driver, soon to be a pilot, most likely would have been most likely.
Oh no.
Most experienced G-force is usually reserved for dogfighting F-14 jocks under full afterburners, basically causing him to become insignificant for the remainder of the event. However, the automobile remained on the straight highway for about 2.5 miles before the driver applied and completely melted the brakes, blowing the tires and leaving thick rubber marks on the road surface, then becoming airborne for an additional 1.4 miles and impacting the cliff at a height of 125 feet, leaving a blackened crater 3 feet deep in the rock. Most of the driver's remains were not recoverable. However, small fragments of bone, teeth, and hair were extracted from the crater, and a fingernail and bone shards were removed from a piece of debris believed to be a portion of the steering wheel.
Yes. Remember, every time somebody would post that, they would get banned.
We were on a mailing list. That's how Chris and I actually met in 1995-96. That
So is this a story about mailing lists or a story about SpaceX?
Well, because every time, because we were on the mailing list, and somebody would post that to the mailing list once a week, guaranteed at least once a week, and this forgotten lore. I mean, urban legends kind of went by the wayside of memes and political bullshit. So that's where this goes. SpaceX. Yes, SpaceX is launching Chevrolet Impalas in using JATO rockets. But you're right.
Confirmed.
You're right. SpaceX is doing in 1 year what NASA did in 15 years, and that's why I admire Elon so much. He does exactly what you said. He tests and fails and tests again. Yeah, he's got money. The weird part is
he's got like compared to how much money NASA needed, like they're able to do what NASA did, a fraction of the cost.
Is Elon siphoning any taxpayer money to do what he does?
Well, for SpaceX, yeah. I don't know. For Tesla, yes. For SpaceX, no. I'm not sure, but I'm sure.
That's the thing. Is NASA is paid for? I would assume. I don't know, but I would assume by taxpayer money, right?
Yeah, correct.
Where else is money going to come from? So if Elon is doing it without money, and I'm not going to get political, I promise you that. I don't mean to anyway. If Elon is doing SpaceX with what G-Man said in 1 year, what NASA did in 15 years, and he's doing it with his own money or investors that are not from public taxes, all the more reason why I respect the man and admire him quite a bit.
I don't trust the guy.
Why?
Because he sleeps at the office.
Just a rule. I don't. Even as much as I want to be a billionaire one day, I don't trust them. You know what I mean?
Well, I can agree with that. I don't trust anybody. I don't even trust you.
That's fair. Do I look like a what's it called? A noble character to you?
With that shirt and that facial hair, you look like Dante Hicks.
I'll take it.
Not even supposed to be here today.
I'm not even supposed to be here. Chris doesn't he though? Doesn't he look like Dante?
Kinda.
Here comes Randall. He doesn't
got a berserker. He doesn't got a goatee though. Doesn't Dante get the goatee?
Though. Didn't Dante wear the same freaking shirt in Clark's though?
I'm not like I can't do a goatee. No.
Oh no, he didn't even wear it. It was just a plain one, but still, I don't know why. I'm not even supposed to be here today.
I think the goatee went the way of the Hitler mustache. Like it's a kick-ass mustache. I don't know anybody my age or younger who rocks a goatee. The porn stash came back though.
I had one going on for a little while.
I liked it.
Dug it. Yeah, I liked it. You liked it.
Everybody
didn't like it. You know who didn't like it? Mrs. Debler. She said I gave her the creeps. I've been married to her 20 years.
Wow, chicka wow, chicka wow, chicka wow.
Oh yeah, that just gets her fired right on up.
I thought you looked nice.
Why, thank you, kind sir. I do miss my mustache, but
you don't trust anything I said. Those are your words, not mine.
Wow, he's even got the angle and everything. Chris, find when he was Dante wearing from the behind the counter of the Quick Stop.
Okay. Let's see here.
96. I think my parents got the first home computer in 96. And it was
when I got my first computer too.
It was like a big thing when my dad had a laptop because I was just like, whoa. You don't have to carry a monitor around?
I borrowed my buddy's laptop. My buddy worked for Perot Systems, Ross Perot Systems.
Oh my God.
And he let me borrow.
I love the story already.
He had this is 95, 94 or 95. And he had a spare laptop that they let him have, and it was black and white.
Like the display was black and white?
It was a laptop, an IBM or something, floppy drive, and the display was black and white. And I got to use that, and I played Duke Nukem on it and stuff like that for a while.
Duke Nukem in black and white.
Yep. And then I got really, really annoyed with that, and I'm like, I got to do something better. So I bought my first computer, a Packard Bell computer.
Yeah. Our first computer was a Packard Bell. What's that? Is that Ross Perot?
Well,
No, that's Don.
yeah, that's Don. Yeah, that's Ross Perot. Jesus. Anyway, and then one day I took an AOL floppy disk and I put it in my new Packard Hell computer, and you got mail. I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna do a Google search, Camaro, and I found Chris's website. That's a true story. Fucking feels like it. Even though we're 500 miles away from each other now, we're still. What's the difference? We still get together for beers every Friday.
Exactly.
Do I think
Lucid? Let's talk about Lucid Motors. What is it? I'm new to the concept of the name.
Lucid is it's a new company, and if I'm not mistaken, they have been near extinction a couple of times. But that's probably because they don't have someone like Elon Musk. They're trying not to necessarily compete with Tesla, even though that it's an EV. It's just like, well, if everything is going to be an EV eventually, can you really say that it's competing with Tesla? No, you can't. Like, so they're trying to think ahead a little bit and think like, well, if a Tesla has this sort of bare bones interior, which it does, some would say, some would argue even incomplete. I would argue that the Lucid looks a lot more thought out. It looks and you know it's taken a lot. It's been in the oven for a while, so it's pretty cool. And there's also like it's super high output, and it's big. And I know that there's a lot of people like waiting for the SPAC announcement for the Lucid IPO, and everyone wants to cash in on that. And
why have I never heard of this company before?
Some engineers did go to Lucid. A lot of Tesla talent went to Lucid actually.
Really?
Yeah. I think even was it the marketing guy? Finance guy.
Wow, that's a good-looking car.
I can't remember. So the Lucid is an interesting prospect. I'm just like in the same sort of teething patterns we've seen with Tesla. Tesla's already going on 12 years old, and they're still dealing. Yeah. I think with the original Roadster came out, and I think like 2009, 10, 11, around that time frame. Just post recession. It was Lotus Elise based, and it was like a bunch of.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
Yep.
What Stones? So who's funding? Why? First of all, why have I not heard of Lucid until now? And second of all, who's funding it?
The Chinese.
Peter Rawlinson. He's a CEO. Peter Rawlinson. Lucid Motors.
I think Lucid. Are they the ones?
It's a good-looking car. I will tell you that.
I think.
Manny, do you think that we're going to see?
There's a lot of Chinese money backing Lucid right now.
Well, there's a lot of Chinese money backing pretty much everything, right?
There's a lot of everything that the Chinese touch it's going electric. Lotus, for example. So
is Lotus going pure electric?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, and it's they're starting it with the Avea hypercar, which they've teased this thing for like I want to say 2 years now. It's still not ready. And it's just like a weird sort of like bastardization of Colin Chapman's philosophy, which Colin Chapman was just all about simplify and add lightness, which is why you had cars like the Elise and the Exige and things like that. Unfortunately, that ultimately turned out to not be the best way to make business, to make a profit with the car company. It's to sell like niche products that are basically exotic Miatas. So, what they're doing instead. So Lotus was at the cusp, right? And they had this sort of like grandiose electric vehicle plan. I want to say back in like 2013, 14, I think they announced all these things. It was like, yeah, we're going to bring back the Esprit and we're going to do this and we're going to do that, blah, blah, blah. And then that all went to hell. They got rid of the CEO at the time. They cleaned house, and then they're just like, well, we're out of money. And then I think Geely came in. Geely's a Chinese company. They actually own Volvo as well. And they announced the Aveja, which is like this. It's striking to look at. It has massive flying buttresses, and you could basically like put a basketball through it. They're huge. And it's got like something like 1,500 or 2,000 horsepower, so a radical number. And I'm just like, I look at this thing and I'm like, Colin Chapman didn't want to make hypercars. He wasn't Horacio Pagani. He wasn't Lamborghini. He wasn't Enzo Ferrari. His mantra was just keep it simple, stupid. Make it light, make it fast. This is like, let's make this a spaceship. And I'm just like, how is that representative of the Lotus brand? And I understand, like, there's a lot of people that talk about evolve or die, et cetera, et cetera. I was like, could Lotus take the simplify and add lightness philosophy and put it into an SUV, which they were adamant about not building? They never was like, we're going to do that. We're not going to build an SUV. They're going to build an SUV. They're going to build an electric SUV. Ferrari's building an SUV. Aston Martin already built an SUV. Rolls-Royce built an SUV. Bentley built an SUV. Lamborghini's got one. McLaren's the holdout, but that's not going to – it's good. Eventually they're going to make an SUV. And you just – like I just – when I think of like a Lotus SUV, I think of something like a Jeep Wrangler, like something that like an old one that's just gonna like take it apart, put it back together in like 2 seconds, and nothing to it. Just make it like a cool adventure vehicle, like a modern, like somewhere between a Defender and a Wrangler.
Yeah,
how I would envision a Lotus. Because if it's just about simplifying and adding lightness, that's exactly how you would market a Lotus SUV. But apparently, I don't even know if that was a conversation at Lotus, but that would be something that I would at least like put on the table. It's like, if we're going to have an SUV, because we know this is going to make a profit, let's do it like this. This will probably sell like 10 times more Esprits and Exige little mini cars. One of my favorite cars, by the way, is the original Esprit, the Giugiaro design. The like the wedge. He designed the DeLorean, by the way.
Did he really? Mm-hmm. Well, I guess it makes sense now when you say that.
When you look at it, absolutely. Giugiaro.
Did you see that the DeLorean is coming out with a new – Chris, I sent you an article about it. Mm-hmm. Actually, the DeLorean is never going to die. I think it's never going to die.
It's a cultural icon, and it doesn't – like you can't take that away.
No.
So it's already lived how many decades longer than the company itself? Yeah, they like the image of the DeLorean. Everyone knows what DeLorean is from the movie.
Right.
Oh. Yeah, you guys are right. I'm just kind of skimming around about the CEO, Peter Rawlinson. Yeah, he was a former Tesla engineer. The headline, more headline grabbing. Ex-Tesla engineer wants to get revenge on Elon Musk after leaving by starting another car company.
Who wrote that?
Site I've never been to before in my life. Dexerto.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But but Donut Media, Tesla versus ex-Tesla engineer. Chris,
Let me
you
tell
love
you about Tesla and Lucid and the Tesla engineer and how he wants to get revenge.
Chris. I know you love Donut Media.
Yeah, the first 2 times I saw it.
Man.
I like Donut Media sometimes. There's some educational stuff on there.
Yeah,
So-
because they literally just read the Wikipedia article, but incorrectly.
Well, yeah.
This is a story about the Nissan hardbody pickup truck.
The Catfish Camaro.
I think they did do a Camaro one.
Yes, they
They
did.
did. They actually do good stuff. It's just the style is
It's for children.
subjective.
It's for children.
I say subjective. You say for children. There's some educational stuff on there. Usually when I'm down in the garage, sometimes I'll stumble across it. No, I've got this plugin on YouTube. I encourage anybody to get it, even for my videos. It's I think it's called HTML speed control for HTML5 speed control for Google Chrome, where you could anything that's video, including this video you're watching right now, when it's not live, you can crank up the speed on it. I watch so many things at like 150% speed. I can get through it so much faster.
What?
I've tried to do that with Audible, reading audiobook or listening to audiobooks too, but I like to listen to the voice, the inflection, the you know what I mean, instead of the trying to get it.
It's actually for Chrome. It's called Video Speed Controller, and when you crank it up to 150, it just sounds exactly the same, just a little faster. Especially when you got somebody that won't stop talking, including myself. I tell you what, man, I don't know if I should be ashamed or not of not hearing of Lucid before, but man, I agree with you, Chris. Race City Woodworks, that is a really sharp looking car.
There's a lot of potential for Lucid. I'm personally holding out. Like, I want to see where Rivian goes. I think Rivian has the most upside of any new electric automaker.
You think so? For funding wise, or is it funding or something else?
So they're already building vans for Amazon. They're already testing the Rivian vans for Amazon out west. They have a massive investment in Ford. They have funding from Amazon. They have funding from T. Rowe Price. They have just dumb money. Like absolutely, like Elon's got money. Rivian's got FU money. They just
Rivian's Elon's the richest man on the planet now.
Yeah, because Tesla IPO'd. Rivian hasn't IPO'd yet. Wait for that. That might be Rivian. Rivian is so, like, the other reason I like Rivian is because like they're a very, very good blend of old and new, in that they're new energy propulsion, right? They're electric vehicles, and the kids love it because it's electric and stuff. But
Manny, please get it right, because it's like electric and stuff.
It's like electric, and it's like good for the environment.
So it's good for the environment.
And I love being a coastal elite, and I need an electric vehicle to live here.
It'll last forever.
That's neither here nor there. It's not okay. Anyway, the other reason I like Rivian is because they started. So this is also like, they're one of the ones actually moving into California, by the way. They're moving to Irvine.
That's going to be their undoing. That's going to be their undoing. Mark my words.
Except they're going to get all of the tax money because they're electric vehicles.
Well, they're just going to spend it on the California taxes.
So they're going to do.
It's a wash.
The mistake Tesla made was to actually build the cars in California. Rivian's building them in Illinois. They're building them at the old Mitsubishi plant in Normal.
what is the the controversy around Rivian and the money and all that? It was Rivian, right?
As far as I'm concerned, there's no money.
Which one was which?
You're thinking of the other company that GM went to. Remember, GM invested in.
Oh, Nikola.
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah. Sorry, Rivian, Nikola. There's a couple of eyes in there. Whatever happened to that? Is that done?
They wrote that down. That dumb Badger truck isn't happening. The Nikola. Okay, like outside looking in, they still have a lot of like fences to mend. They still have a lot to prove. The ousting of their CEO was rather public, and that happened all right after the investment was announced from General Motors. It was like within like the same week. Yeah. They're like Hindenburg Research, which is the name, right? Like they're short sellers. And so like they profit off of tanking stocks. That's just what they do. And
bastards.
But they came out with this report that just had all this dirty laundry on Nikola, its founder, and that was just like irreparable. So they had to do something. They got rid of the founder and CEO. And then, then the spotlight was on GM to do something, or like, are they going to? Because it was serious allegations, right? Especially like from the
it was a big freaking deal.
Yeah. So General Motors had to like, are we going to stay in? Going to stay out? What ended up happening was they didn't have to ink the deal until December, and when December came, they wrote it down. So they're still partnering with Nikola. They still want to build, or not build, but supply their hydrogen fuel cell technology to Nikola into their semi trucks, which I think will be like in terms of emissions, in terms of being kind to the environment, very interested and very, very excited about fuel cell technology. I think that is really cool. I think if you've got a bunch of semi trucks driving around, not producing sulfur, or NOx, or CO2, that's huge, because it's like that logistical supply chain that's really going to make a huge difference in how the air quality is. So
I'm building my own Rivian right now.
Attaboy. Anyway, long story short, they ended up canning the truck. They were going to build the Nikola Badger truck at the same plant as the Hummer EV. If you could picture that. Somehow,
you want to call my mother-in-law?
Dumb names, dude. Like Honey Badger. Honey Badger doesn't give a shit. It's also like in the same thing too. It's like, so there's Tesla. Well, we're Nikola. We're the first name, so we're first or something. I don't know. Just really bizarre. Like you couldn't come up with anything else. Anything else? No, the
Einstein.
Genghis Khan? I don't know. Like whatever. It was just bizarre. It's bizarre to me that was.
Damn you, Mongolians!
Oh my god, I miss me some South Park. Talk about just like constantly being on the pulse of.
I agree. I agree. I keep looking at this Rivian though. I'm like, this is why the show is great. It's enlightening for not only me, because I get to catch up on things that I haven't been able to while you guys pump out articles day after day on muscle cars and trucks. But this is the first time I really looked closely at a Rivian other than the front end. It's a good looking truck. The R1T.
The R1T
version.
Yep. So like size wise, it's a little smaller than like an F-150 or a Silverado.
It makes me think of my Colorado size.
It's a little. I might be a pinch bigger.
Just you think?
Yeah.
I was thinking based on the tire size and the renderings, it might be a tad smaller.
No.
It probably has the same length, but just because it doesn't need the engine space and all that, it probably doesn't have the overhangs.
Well, it hauls ass too. And
Yeah?
they competed. Rivian took a prototype R1T and they entered it in the Rebelle Rally, which is an offer. It's like a was it 2 week? It's like a 2 week adventure rally just for women. That but
I'm just kidding.
No, it's really cool. And so like Rivian entered it, and they had a really kick-ass team. Emmy Hall from Roadshow, she got to actually be a co-driver. So Emmy got to co-drive the R1T. She was one of the first people outside of like Rivian to drive it, and they kicked ass with it. And there's a video that just came up on YouTube. I think it's on Roadshow's channel actually, and there's like you can watch it if you want. It's like 15 minutes long or so. But it's a very cool truck. It's a very cool technology, very cool company. And going back, like I like Rivian because that company has also been around for like almost as long as Tesla, but they haven't been able to produce anything yet, largely because they know how important it is to take the time to develop a product. Whereas Tesla's just like, throw it. Just get it out there.
Look at Cybertruck.
Look at everything that Tesla's doing. It's
is the Cybertruck going to change designs, or is that what we saw going to be the final design?
It probably won't change design too much. And it's also like, you know, if you read a little bit in between the lines with the Cybertruck, is that it's going to be what's it called? A DOT class 2B or class 3 pickup truck, which means you don't have to crash test it, which means you don't have to go through, you don't have to crash test it, which means you don't have to do EPA range testing.
Oh man. So
you don't have to put airbags in the Cybertruck. You don't have to crash test the Cybertruck. I don't think you even have to worry about pedestrian safety for the Cybertruck. Not that that pedestrian safety stuff really does a lick anyway, but you got to do something. But like, if you don't have to account for all the regulatory costs that are baked into a vehicle, you can come into the market significantly under everybody else, which they plan to. Even though that, like, they say that they're going to launch, I think, first with like the tri-motor, Cybertruck tri-motor. I think is going to be the first one out, dual motor, and then the base one is going to be like something like $45,000, but like that won't be till later. And it's kind of like the same thing with Hummer. They're putting the balls to the wall one first, and then they'll do like the lower trim levels later, just because they know that that's where the demand is. They like everyone that's like an early adopter and really hyper about this product is going to just load it up. They want the biggest, most expensive, most lavish one, and that's what they're going to get. They're not going to get the base boy. So that commodity product eventually comes later. But $45,000 for for an all-electric truck, that's substantial. That's big. And again, like they pulled out so much cost. The exoskeleton, again, like you don't have to worry about crumple zones. You don't have to worry about all this stuff.
Yeah, but
you're not.
As a driver, worry about that.
You don't have to paint it, right? Like you don't have. Okay, Jason, you drive a C6 Corvette.
Yep. You
can legally buy things that are even less safer than a C6 Corvette.
But I don't.
But you don't. But it's a little ironic that people can buy those used products, but automakers aren't allowed to sell them to you as new.
I get it. Let's talk about a C1 Corvette, right? I can buy that and drive it around. It's probably the most unsafe, wobbliest car on the road.
Yeah, the C1 does drive like shit.
Yeah. It's the blue flame straight 6, and the steering wheel. It's like a bus,
it's
right?
It's like a boat helm. I think it's like I'm driving a little boat. Yeah. Looks like
and
a
I'm
little
sure
boat.
I'm sure that if my neighbor, with his Ford F-150 lifted,
he won't even notice if you ran you over.
yeah. Be like, Oh.
Speed bump.
I had another cat. By the way, I'm out of beer. I had to switch to this. And I don't want to switch to it. It's just all I had.
What is it?
I bought a variety pack of this. It's a Michigan company, which is why I bought it. It's this company called Beaches, and it's a hard seltzer, and they have tropical cocktail inspired drinks. So this is the mojito version. I got a pina colada on deck. There's a what's it called? The Palermo. No.
Did you pull that out of your purse or?
Look.
I'm just kidding. I'm honestly not one to judge what anybody drinks.
I thought these would taste better. Okay.
Oh, well, it's not good. Because I got a case of them out in the garage. I guess I'm not going to drink it.
I've tried seltzers too, and I just can't drink them.
This tastes like chapstick.
I can't do it.
The mojito tastes like.
It tastes like chapstick.
There's nothing natural flavor about this.
Oh, have you ever had bubbly?
Yeah, it's horrible.
Bublé.
It's horrible.
Yeah. I do like Michael Bublé, though. I think he's a great guy.
So Atwater makes a seltzer, and I actually like it. As does Bathin, and that seltzer's good too.
Yeah, I just don't like. I guess I just don't like seltzers.
I would rather not drink the seltzers, but they're usually like always there. You go to a happening, and everyone's just drinking these now.
Well, here's the thing. Last we're going to start sounding like we're alcoholics. Last summer. Oh, wow, some body. Last summer, Smirnoff came out with a hard seltzer, whatever, red, white, and blue. I think it was Smirnoff. I got it once, but I really liked it because you know what it tasted like? Remember the old bomb popsicles?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
That's what it tasted like. It was pretty damn good for what it's worth.
Well, they say there ain't no laws when you're drinking the claws.
Until you get arrested.
I'm sure there's plenty of laws. Oh man.
Yeah, this sucks.
Oh, red, white, and berry. That's what it is. Smirnoff Ice, red, white, and berry. And honest to God, alcoholic bomb pop. And it was good. I forgot about that. Wow, I could put in my zip code and have it delivered to me. Oh, first I got to put.
I might like this better though than like say like I don't know, like a piss beer.
Well, like a PBR or something.
I'd rather drink a PBR over this, but maybe like a Miller Lite or something. Like one of those just like fizzy yellow water crap beers.
Is it Costco that's selling the 99 PBRs in a giant box?
What?
Yeah, it's
no, it's like a giant.
No, it's like a long. Let me find it. I've been seeing people post about it.
Does it look like a 4x8? You need two people to carry out. Oh boy.
Yeah, let me see if I can find these here.
Oh boy. Might have to once we're finished renovating the basement, we might have to use that as a break in.
You know, I was just gonna search for it, and I just realized my browser popped open. My search history is weird. Jado Rocket Car, Race City Woodworks, Magpul Industries, C4 Corvette, Pennsylvania Shooting, Race Ramps, Marilyn Manson, Blackwing.
You were looking up Marilyn Manson during the show?
No, it's just my history throughout the day because I've been following the whole Marilyn Manson weirdness going on.
I'm out of this loop. What's up?
Well, where to begin on this guy? Not the biggest fan of his music. I like some of his stuff.
Right.
But what I did always admire about him as he was an artist, and I truly believe, and I've said this a lot, look at that.
Oh, Lord.
It's a family pack.
How does that not buckle? Like, if you lift that wrong?
I don't know, but apparently they sell them.
That has to be like reinforced with some sort of like wood.
I don't know.
That's amazing.
Anyway, I always admired Marilyn Manson because as an artist, even though I didn't agree with the art, I believe that art should do two things, and you might have heard this before. It should comfort the oh shit, I got it wrong. Art should comfort the disturbed and disturb the comforted. And I always appreciated that. And that's why art does what it does. And I can appreciate that. And so I appreciate him as an artist. His music, not the biggest fan of it all the time, but I appreciated how it was different and did what it did. However, he's like I saw him in concert a few years ago, and he was just basically a big fat drunk. I mean, I'm a big fat drunk, but I'm not on stage all the time.
You don't get paid to not be a big fat drunk.
Not at all. But it wasn't the best concert. I mean, I remember seeing older concerts where he would just give it all and do his artsy fartsy thing and everything. Anyway, long story made boring is that it's coming out that he is the guy. He is alleged to be the guy that you would think he would when it comes to how he treats other people, including his girlfriends. And it's pretty much a Me Too movement all over again. And a lot of people are coming out of the woodwork against Marilyn Manson. And
canceled, basically.
Yeah, as the record label canceled him, and he's saying, "Oh, it's not true." I'm lipstick and all that. And then, but I'm not passing judgment, but I'm like, look at his music videos, look at the books he's written. What did you expect to happen? If it was true, what did you expect to happen?
The guy's got demons, man. You don't get that way unless you have demons.
The one time that I most admired that guy is when somebody interviewed him after the whole Columbine thing. And again, I'm not going to get too political, but I'll never forget this. They said, because one of the Columbine shooters was wearing a Marilyn Manson T-shirt. If you could sit down and talk to him, what would you say to him right now? And he's like, I wouldn't say anything. I'd listen to him. I'm like, boom, you got it right. Good for him.
Yeah,
and
it's a little,
but I guess he's dabbled in substances way too much, and apparently, pretty much everybody's coming out of the woodwork saying he's just off the rails on substance abuses, and it could happen.
The guy,
get it?
The guy, he's older than you, isn't he? Not saying you're old, but like
what is that supposed to mean?
Like he's in his he's what 55, 60?
Oh no, I'm still older than him.
52 years old.
Is he really?
Yep. From Canton, Ohio.
Yeah. I mean,
no. Nothing good ever comes out of Ohio.
Yeah.
Except
he was born
Maynard. Maynard was born in Ohio. Maynard James Keenan.
Maynard did some living in Michigan too.
Maynard identifies as a Michigan boy, even though he's born in Ohio. He grew up on the West Side. His dad was a high school teacher and a wrestling coach. Maynard wrestled. Moved out, joined the Army, and then ended up in California, formed Tool, did Tool things, formed a Perfect Circle.
did some Toolish things.
Did Tool things.
The first Perfect Circle album still in my top 10. It was so good.
It's really good.
It was 20 years, almost 20 years ago now.
Yeah.
Oh, it was 20 years ago.
First Tool album came out in, I think, 93.
Are you talking about Opiate?
Yeah. No, was it Opiate or Undertow?
Opiate was early. It's not
was Opiate the first one?
Undertow was 93.
Okay, so Opiate was before Undertow. I think Opiate might be 30 years old.
Isn't that weird to think about that? Gosh, man.
So then Maynard did Perfect Circle and Tool things. Then he did
Perfect Circle's first album was 2000, 21 years ago.
Jeez.
So when we were listening to that, kids were being born. They're drinking now.
Yes. Perfect Circle, and then Tool, and then I think he started. I don't know what came first, the Winery or Pussifer.
The Winery and then Pussifer.
Okay, so then he had the Winery. So he was doing 1, 2, 3, 4 things. Then he wrote a book, right?
And now he has COVID. Twice.
He got COVID again?
He got COVID again.
Oh, shit. He did not, I don't know if you read about his first experience. He's like legit effed up from COVID.
Yeah. He said he couldn't breathe and all that shit.
Yeah, he said like he's got legit problems still, like legit problems from COVID.
Again, a great artist. Don't quite understand him all the time, but that's what artists for.
He's opening up a winery in Michigan.
Is he really? I heard his wine is spectacular.
It's really
I heard he knows his stuff.
Caduceus wine is pretty good. It's some of the best. Again, it's like Arizona. You're like, Arizona wine, what is this? But it's so I guess like Arizona, the low plain used to be a caldera, and that means volcanic soil. That means very good Mediterranean grapes.
Some bitchin' grapes.
Some very bitchin' grapes. And so the first like couple of releases were shit, but now he's kind of gotten like a lot of traction and figured it out, and it's pretty good. And it's like largely his full-time passion. I feel like more than music now is the winemaking. But he's gonna open, yeah, and he's gonna open a wine. So it's gonna be wine, mead, and cider.
No kidding.
Yeah. And I don't know when it's gonna launch, but it's gonna be in Western Michigan near where he grew up, which is I think it's just outside of Grand Rapids.
No kidding. I tell you what, I was not the biggest fan of the last Tool album, though.
You didn't like what's it called?
I'll be right back. Got to make a pet stop.
I listen to it all the time. It's one of my favorites. Yeah, I think it's the best one. I think it's the best Tool album.
I've only listened to Undertow, so that's the only Tool album I've ever listened to.
When music concerts start happening again, we should go see Guar together.
Guar? Didn't what's his face die?
Yeah, he did. I saw him. I think I saw them.
I almost went and saw them at Harpo's a long time ago.
I was at that concert a couple years ago.
Oh my god!
It was a couple years ago. They came back to Harpo's. That's where I saw them. It was just before the election in 2016.
90s. I think I almost went in the 90s to see them.
Dude, it was fun. It was so much fun.
Yeah, that's an interesting place.
Harpo's. I saw Static X there once when I was like 18. I was 18 years old. I just got out of my freshman year of college.
Oh man!
And I was in the mosh pit for like 2 hours. I saw OTEP and Static X in the mosh pits.
Okay, so I saw Guar twice.
Ooh.
Once in Las Vegas, and then a week later at Harpo's in Detroit.
90s?
No, like 7 years ago.
I saw them like not that much later than that.
We might have been at the same show. A band called American Sharks opened up.
I don't know if I made it for
They were really good. In fact, I left the Guar show just to go talk to the American Sharks guys.
Was that when Battlecross opened for them?
Might have been.
Because like per your recommendation, I went to go see Battlecross, and it just so happened that Guar was the headliner.
Tell you what, I'm still friends with those Battlecross guys.
That's a good band, man.
They're just good dudes. They're just good guys. We should start a show that's about music and not cars, because the past half an hour, I think we lost half our audience. But
we actually gained audio. We actually have more people on now than we did.
All right, let's see who's watching. This? We've got four. We got 4 from my YouTube channel. We got 1 from Muscle Cars and Trucks. Please throw your comments in the chat. We want to see what you're saying here. We went off the deep end here. So, Chris, you only listen to Undertow, but you never listen to anything. You never listen to Anima? What are you guys' dream car? Oh, let's bring it back to cars. Cars. Okay, Manny, what's your dream car?
Pass.
What do you mean pass?
I don't have. It depends. It literally depends. It depends on my mood.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're fickle. Chris, go.
I mean, one of my dreams is always to own an '87 Buick GNX. just because I owned a Grand National for so many years, and just it was always the dream to have a GNX. But I wouldn't put it in my garage. I would drive it, and that would drive people crazy because there's only 547 of them made.
That's right.
And,
That's right.
and every single one is accounted for. What's that?
They're worth about $100,000, give or take.
They got to be going up more than that. I think G bodies were, as a whole, appreciating.
Yeah.
All the 80s GM cars are starting to come up quite a bit.
Only the collectors, though. They're like, have you ridden in one lately?
They're rad.
It feels like you're driving a couch.
Okay, if you could go back to say like the 80s and you would pick a car you would want to drive every day to have today, what would you pick?
The 80s?
Yeah.
The 80s?
Yeah.
Cars sucked ass in the 80s.
Yeah, but there were some cool.
It's relative, man. Like cars are going to suck ass compared to 20 years from now. But they're also going to be cheaper.
What about like a Dodge Omni GLH Turbo?
Oh man.
Well, my first car was a 1983 Dodge Charger. So it had the 2.2 Power Hog in it, and that was a peppy little that was a stout little 4-cylinder too. That was the one
with the camshaft that was welded together.
Yeah, I bought it for. I don't have it anymore. I think I got rid of it, but I scanned it before I got rid of it. In Lansing, Michigan, there's a paper called the Wheeler Dealer. It's free, and it costs money for you to put your ads in it, which probably doesn't even exist anymore thanks to the internet. But I found my car there in the Wheeler Dealer. 1983 Dodge Charger, 4-cylinder, 5-speed, runs great, $750. My first car. I was 16, 17 years old, and I bought it from there. And that thing was a peppy little son of a gun, man. That was a fun little car. It didn't have a passenger side door rear view mirror. I guess it was an option.
They didn't have them.
So it was the driver's side rear view mirror and then the center rear view mirror, and that was it. It had Pioneer 6x9s in the back, and that was it. 2 speakers in the back, and they were aftermarket, like the dude put it. And then they had a factory radio, which was AM, FM. That's it. Mm-hmm. So I ended up getting a stereo put into it that cost me almost $100 because my stepdad had some credit at a local car stereo joint in Lansing, and I could have it 2 ways. I could have the tape deck where I could do fast forward and rewind, but had manual analog tuning of the radio stations, or I could have digital tuning on the radio stations, but I only had fast forward on the tape deck. So if I wanted to fast forward on something else, I'd have to take the tape deck out, the tape out, flip it over, put it in, fast forward. That was pretty much the way to rewind. Then take it out and then flip it over and then put it back in again. I opted for the digital tuning because that was a time. This is 1988, 9. Before you were born. Remember, kids? Where
I was born in 88. Relax.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so I bought my first car when you were born. You were an infant. You were crapping your pants while I was driving a car.
I still have a soft spot for the 80s cars.
This is a piece of crap. So anyway, long story made boring. It was a good first car. I beat the snot out of it. Didn't know how to take care of it. I mixed 2 different weights of oils because I thought it would make sense. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding about that last part. But I know somebody who did that. They're like, I don't know, 5W30, 10W40, whatever. Just put it in. It's oil.
80, 90, whatever.
0 weight. But I was driving home from work one day, and I noticed this. What is that? What is that smell? And the more I pushed the gas, the slower it went. And it was just a few miles from home, so I ended up getting it to the house, and my dad pulled the valve cover off the 2.2 Power Hog engine. And it turns out that somehow, before I had bought it, and I think I was like the 10th owner, the overhead camshaft had broken. And somebody said, "That's okay. Let's weld it together." And they welded the camshaft together, and it lasted a year after me beating the crap out of it, thinking it was awesome to power shift the 5-speed 2.2 power hog Dodge little engine. So right now, I think this can right here is the reincarnation of my car. That's what I always like to think. Since we were talking about recycling.
It was a simpler time back then, you know? Simpler time with the simpler cars.
Going into the gas station and buying Coca-Cola in a glass bottle. That,
Getting in your friend's Chevy Citation with the radio, which was sideways like this on the dash.
Yep.
Race City says his first car was the '85 Camaro Berlinetta.
Oh,
the Berlinetta was a digital dash, right?
Did you?
I actually learned to drive a stick on a 1985 Camaro non-Berlinetta.
It probably had louvers in the back too.
Nope. My stepdad was a tool. Actually, no, he wasn't a tool because he didn't have them.
I like the louvers. Are they not tasteful?
Well, the 80s Camaros, they were cool, you know, especially if you got an IROC.
Yeah,
my 83 Dodge Charger had louvers on them. Was it? I thought Berlinetta always had digital. Okay, all right. Huh? But it had those turbine wheels, right?
I've always wanted a Giugiaro Esprit. I remember like a Lotus Esprit was one of the first, and this is always like when you're a kid and you just get that impression, but it just sticks with you, and that's it. It's done. You just want that thing.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that was the Esprit. And I've always liked Lotus since then. Also, like if I could ever acquire a Vector. A Vector W8 or the W12.
What? There's 12 of the 15 of them.
So
how many are there?
The guy just died. He was in his 70s, still trying to find someone to fund his projects, though. Trying to bring the Vector back.
Never give up, man.
Lingenfelter had one. Has one?
Yeah, he's got one. He's got everything.
But
I wonder how old Ken's doing these days.
Mandy,
do you talk to him?
I haven't talked to him in a minute. I haven't talked to him in a minute. Well, I'll check in with him. I still I don't know. I try to talk to like his people because that's their job. Yep. So we'll see. I don't like to call him and just be like, yeah, let me go around everybody.
Oh, here's one guy I do have his number on.
Right. Yeah, Ken's been really great to us, and he's like as a young media professional, he's taken chances on me when no one else really would, and it's super awesome.
I think Ken is the embodiment of what a car enthusiast should be. Ken is a multi-trillionaire. I don't know. Ken's loaded. Okay, there's no question. Ken's
loaded. It's not about that. It's about just being able to carry that torch and be welcoming. And
Like, you wouldn't, if you didn't know who Ken Lingenfelter was, and you ran into him at a car show, you wouldn't know who Ken Lingenfelter was. You just know he was a dude who's a nice guy that knows his cars. That's it.
Here's an example. Here's an example of a good story for Ken. And just how grounded he is. Chicago Auto Show, he's there every year. He's got a little display where there's third party companies and just random stuff there. But he's got usually one or two Lingenfelter vehicles there, and he's hanging out in case anyone is looking for an interview.
He has no ego. He's just a car guy.
None.
Who's smart with business, and he has some good looking cars. Chris, I'll never forget when we showed up at his collection a few years ago, early, and he just strolls on. He's like, "Hey, what's going on? You guys want to check things out?" And he spent an hour and a half with us, just taking us around to his collection and just talking about stuff. Like, "Oh yeah, I got that from Nicolas Cage. He wants it back. He can't have it." and I got this, and this was great. Like he's like a dude showing off his kids. He's like, this is my son, this is my child, this is it. There's no arrogance about it. There's no ego. There's no like I'm so high and mighty. He's just a car dude that is smart and
great guy.
he's just man. I can never say anything bad about Ken Lingenfelter.
The Optima Ultimate Streetcar Challenge. I got to go one year, and he was there with because he's a huge sponsor for it, and like some of his some cars running. Like I think is it Danny Pop?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think Danny Pop runs OUSCI, and so he was there. He won too that year, and there's a couple of the Lingenfelter powered cars, and he's there because he was there for SEMA because it's right after SEMA. It's like the Saturday after SEMA, Saturday or Sunday, and I'm just like hanging out at the fence, just watching the cars go by, and then it's just like all of a sudden he's like right next to me. He's just like, "Hey," I'm like, "Hey," like what's up? And we're just shooting the shit. Like it's just really easy.
Actually, the
USCA. He's like the Jay Leto that you actually want to hang out with.
I want to hang out with Jay Leno too. Oh.
If you ever watch the videos, it's like Jay Leno just kind of like riff it. He doesn't even doesn't know half the time what he's even saying. He's like, it's like I like if you listen to like some like Corvette stuff, it's like he gets displacement wrong and horsepower wrong. It's just like all this. I'm like,
most people do.
Yeah,
kind of like us.
Okay, yeah, maybe I'm.
You want to hear something funny?
Hmm.
Since you mentioned the USCA, it's right here in my hometown, right here.
Like it's based there?
Yep.
Optima is based in Nashville?
No, not Optima, but the USCA is. Jimmy Day runs that.
You mean OUSCI?
What did I say?
USCA. Is that Ultimate Streetcar Association?
Yeah, damn it. Now you got me screwed up.
Optima
Jimmy Day.
Ultimate Streetcar Challenge.
Jimmy Day lives here. In fact, I go to the same UPS store that he does because I know that's where their home address is because he lives just a few miles from me. Ran into him with Chris, who's our guy that always flies and wears the Chuck Taylors. That always gets the The dude, man. He's the autocrosser, the road racer.
Yeah.
The dude, man.
Oh, man. The dude. Ken Thwaites.
Ken Thwaites, yep.
Yeah. So I met Jimmy Day through Ken Thwaites just to find out that Jimmy Day runs the sanctioning body for the Ultimate Street. If I might get this wrong, the Ultimate Streetcar Challenge. And it's right here in my area, here in Nashville. And it's a shame that I haven't run into him since then. It's been a couple, 3 years. So I should probably look him up and say, hey, Jimmy Day. Let me pull out my handy-dandy phone and see who I can name drop again.
Gentlemen, did you mean for this show to go 2 hours and 20 minutes?
Not a chance. Really. Not a chance. Jimmy Day, President, FM3 Performance Marketing. DriveUSCA.com. That is our boy.
Oh my God, I'm drinking the pina colada now.
If you like pina colada.
It smells like sunscreen. That was chapstick. This is sunscreen.
What does it smell like? Coconut?
Hot piss.
It's because it's fake coconut. It smells like sunscreen. All right.
This is we've completely lost our audience. We're just three guys talking to each other.
I'll still talk about cars, boys. I like.
Yeah.
Good for you, young buck. Actually, if you go to the Drive USCA website, you will see in the little carousel rotation that somebody is road racing a Tesla.
What?
Yeah, I saw. I just happened to catch it in the rotation.
So a bit of an aside about the Teslas. So first of all, is that a Model 3 on the track, or is it a?
I don't know. I lose track.
So the Model 3 did so well in SCCA Autocross in its class, which I believe was B Street, which is like, so like if you were to go like for all the street classes, to start with like Super Street and then A, B, C, D, and then H, I think is like the slowest one. So if you were to start with Super, so A is like, Super Street is like Dodge Viper ACR. And then like A Street is like Corvette. B Street is like BMW like M2, Tesla Model 3. And it was pretty fascinating that that car took national championships and just like walked like the SCCA didn't quite get their the I don't know, whatever math, whatever formula they use to figure out like based on the specs of the car where it should be in the class rankings, they got it wrong for the Model 3. And it just blew the doors off everybody else in the segment, and they actually had to like move it. They're also introducing I think they're introducing like electrified classes now in autocross, which is cool. Because you still want like those people to kind of like come in and compete in motorsport and see where it goes. You know, they don't have the tuning and aftermarket support that say like someone driving a Camaro or a GTI. GTI is really popular, or like a Miata, also very popular, something like that. But it's a start. And it's cool to see, like, you know, again, we're at the cusp, right? We're at the cusp of a completely new industrial complex. And it's exciting because it's like, you know, I was doing that with my Volt, and I was like, oh, the only electrified car there. And it's like, now there's people with like full on EVs, Model 3s, stuff like that.
Give it time.
Yeah.
Give it time.
Give it time. You know, someone's going to show up with a Rimac one day, and
it's inevitable. We will be assimilated. And I'll say it again. The future gearhead is the Volt head.
I think, like, so just as much as automakers might struggle with securing, like, battery minerals, I really think the aftermarket's in for a world of hurt. I think the SEMA show as we know it is in deep trouble because a lot of tuning companies, like, they don't know what's about to hit them when it comes to ECU encryption, when it comes to not being able to tune your car, performance tune the car, things like that. You know, we did throw out like that sort of the early warning shot. The first article we ever wrote on Muscle Cars and Trucks was about how the Corvette's ECU would be, you know, relatively untunable.
And nobody believed you. Nobody believed you.
No one believed me. It's still pretty much true to this day. There's things you can do.
Are you still right?
For the most part, I'm still right. There's nobody that is selling you the kit, like Hennessy isn't selling you any performance kits.
Well, they're selling it. They're just not delivering on it.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there. But they're just one example. You know, you don't see anybody coming out with like, oh, we've got a fully unlocked ECU tuned turbo kit, full cal for your C8 Corvette. What you realistically have to do is completely rewire the entire car. Reprogram the entire car. Run your own
system.
Completely run your own system.
Yeah,
and that's super expensive. Right, like from a cost standpoint, and also there's R&D associated with that tuning companies didn't have to do before, that they're going to have to pass on to the customer. So like all these tuning programs are going to get like super expensive if that is going to be the space. right? And then there's also like the argument to be made. It was like, well, these people are probably pretty deep pocketed anyway. Like you got 1,000, you're seeking out 1,000 horsepower car. You're probably, you're probably pretty comfortable. You're just going to have to pay double what you used to pay.
Huh.
But if that goes from a $20,000,
is it worth it?
If it goes from a $20,000, so like 1,000 horsepower, just instead of being $20,000 becomes $40,000, right? Because, or maybe 50, because you're again you're also ripping apart your car. Thoughts about the Venom F5? It doesn't have airbags. Did you know that? I think it's hilarious. F5, it was vaporware for such a long time. They still haven't built one that they've sold. So I don't know. It's been some years, but people keep giving Hennessy money for some reason. Or let me back up. They've just turned into a YouTube channel, and that's how they're funding the program. Just getting a bunch of 9-year-olds to watch like HP 1000s do pulls on like some sort of like back road.
The Exorcist.
That's all you need for.
With the monkey wrenches.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Never mind that they were hedging that. They had a Dodge Demon that was faster, like immediately. Does not have airbags.
Yeah.
But the cool thing that Hennessy is doing with that car, though, and I really wish more people would do this, more automakers would do this, more tuning companies would do this, is that if you are one of the very few people to buy the car, because it's like a super low volume, they will teach you how to drive it. I think it's like they're, I don't know what sort of performance driving school that looks like, but they want you to at least be like comfortable with the car, because they're like, yeah, it's a, however, I think it was 1,000 horsepower, 1,500 horsepower car with no airbags, that it's, you're, what was the name of that rocket car? The
Jado?
It's basically a Jado. So
well, doesn't what you're saying tie into the Bronco story that we talked about an hour ago? The Bronco 4400?
What about it?
Maybe I misunderstood that. Wasn't there? Did I hear that there was a program that if you buy the Bronco, you can?
Oh. So the Bronco 4400 is you still get airbags.
Well, yeah. No, I'm just talking about how you buy it. You can learn how to drive it the right way.
You could go racing with it, but no one's going to teach you.
Oh,
what you can, separately though, what you are eligible for is the Bronco off-roadeo, and
that's what I was thinking of.
That and also the Bronco Sport Badlands, which is the highest trim level in first edition ones. If you've got a Bronco Sport Badlands or a Bronco Sport First Edition, or any trim level of Bronco 2-door or 4-door, you can sign up for the off-roadeo, and they're doing it in five locations. And then Jeep is trying to do something too, but it's all kind of like touch and go. I want it to be like more of a regimented thing, like have more availability, a bigger schedule, things like that. But it's just like, no, we're going to be here, and we're going to be there, and we're going to be there. And it's just like an annual like tour. And I was just like, you guys need to do like this shit like once a month at every location. Because
who's going to pay for that?
Well, dealers. But you're baking it into the price of the car. Like, you know what I mean? Like you should be able to bake this stuff and bake it into the price of the car and sell it as the customer experience. Like it's really cool that you can get a Corvette or a V Series and you can go to Spring Mountain like for free. You can do the drive, but you got to fly there, but the driving school is for free. I think that is a really cool step in the right direction. I think that like baking that in the customer experience making people understand why this is cool in the first place is something that needs to happen more. And you just like you want to see that strategy kind of like form and play out a bit more, but you're not. You're just like, we're just gonna put $4 billion into retooling an electric vehicle plant in Hamtramck. It's like, you're gonna do what? But there was something, I think it was like factories. They're calling it Factory Zero, but that was DHAM. That was the former Volt plant. That's where they built the Volt, the CT6, the LaCrosse, the Impala. Bolt's in Orient.
The Bolt? The Volt?
Did you say Bolt or Volt? I don't know. I think they built did they build the XTS there? Or did they build that in Canada? I can't remember. I think they built the XTS in Canada. But
I get lost.
Sorry,
they built the Impala there too, didn't they?
They built the Impala in Hamtramck, but now it's just all the electric trucks, and I think autonomous cars. I don't know if that was confirmed yet, but that's like they're doing all of that there. They're always doing like GM, because like Hamtramck is like you can see the Rensen from the building. They always put like stuff that they want to show off, like say like there's a senator visiting, right? That all goes to DHAM. So now when Speaker Pelosi visits Michigan to go visit Big Gretch and talk about how good she did closing the state down and everyone losing jobs. Thank you, sir. I really think that's true. I really think that paying extra for the experiences, don't even tell them. Just bake it in. Just be like, look, this is literally it's the base price. Bake it in there. Just like these schools, these programs, things like that. They usually cost like a couple $100 to a couple $1,000. If you're just doing like a 1-day program, 2-day program, and if like you can get a bunch of people to go, or they already paid for it, it's like it's already scaled. Like if you could already bake it in and scale it, and like say not everyone even goes, you like the racing schools, the driving school still gets money. What do they care? Like it all works out for everybody. Like the customer still paid for it, the driving school still gets paid, and the automaker still sold it. But yeah, it's all evaporating.
Well, we expected this episode to go about an hour, and we're going on 2.5, give or take. So I think we're all about ready to cash out, especially after all the beers we've consumed, because this is the Gears and Beers shows brought to you by MuscleCarsAndTrucks.com. Manny, I apologize for cutting you short, but I want to go to bed. I'm tired. I'm full of pizza and beer. It's been a long day.
Well, speak for yourself, because I've been drinking seltzer for the past hour because I ran out of beer.
Wow, Hondo, you are a much man.
Cheers, beers.
No, this is great. The neat part is that the deeper we go into the episode, the more we start really surfacing the core guts of the automotive industry, what we're here for. So we just need to surface that a little faster in each episode.
We did though. We went off on a tangent for a half hour, 45 minutes.
We were talking about music for a while.
We went heavy. I talked about battery mining for like 30 minutes.
Well,
I know. No, but this is a great episode. This is our second episode for those who are watching either live right now, and thank you for that, or later on
the replay.
On the replay.
Because this video will live on Muscle Cars and Trucks Facebook page and your YouTube channel.
And my YouTube channel, which I'm hosting. But I encourage everybody, go to facebook.com/musclecars
and trucks.
And trucks.
Muscle Cars Trucks. Hold on. I got a graphic for it. Hold on.
Throw it up there.
Oh my God.
There we go. Muscle Cars Trucks. We've also got a Twitter page, Muscle Cars Truck Media. No, is it Instagram?
That's the Instagram. Hold on. There's the Instagram right there.
There we go. Oh, wow. Bam. Boom. Cool. Anyway, not a fledgling operation here. Something that, Manny, you've got how many years of experience, Manny?
Combined experience between the three of us were what? 40 years, 50 years?
A long time.
Yeah. A long time. You guys have been in this for 20 years, 25? I've been doing this since 09. We've been at
this. Well, Chris and I have been doing this since 1996, 97.
97.
Yeah.
So
how old were you then, Manny?
I was 97. I was 9 years old. I was 9.
And we consider, damn it, we consider you the boss of this enterprise.
Well, I'm mostly. You guys do all the behind the curtain stuff, not me.
Yeah, but you manage the editorial staff, and that's what makes the gears turn. They're like the enlisted man of the military, the ones that move things forward. We're just the officers level.
Well, if this was a football team, you guys would be like up in the coach's
water boy.
No, you'd be in the coach's booth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You go and you're calling stuff from. No one really sees you, but you're calling plays. You're doing all this stuff. You're getting all this work done, and I'm on the ground. I'm with the players.
That's true.
And I'm telling them to run the plays.
That's true. But, hey, speaking of which, let's talk about this. Who's going to win the Super Bowl? Manny, go.
Tom Brady.
Chris.
Tampa Bay.
Tom Brady. The fact that the Patriots dumped him is like so funny to me now.
If you just look at the analytics alone, he has played in a Super Bowl half of his career, every single year, half of his career, and he's won what 6-7 times.
That's awesome.
I just I'm the only reason I'm upset is like he had to get through Drew Brees to do it. And or not Drew Brees, but like the Saints. Like I was in big New Orleans Saints. I played football for the St. Clair Saints, and my buddy from high school, Tim Lolito, played on the New Orleans Saints, and we played high school football together. So that's my tie, and I like that, and I love the story when the Saints won after 2006 and Hurricane Katrina and everything, and just like I know that Brees is a legend.
Who dat?
Who dat? He's retiring.
Remember that, Jason?
Yeah. Yes.
Who dat?
Who dat? They still do it.
Terrible.
And anyway, I like the Saints, but I like the Bucks too.
I like hockey.
I like racing and I like fighting. And there's UFC tomorrow, and I can't wait.
Hey, what's this I hear that Floyd Mayweather and is it Logan Paul? They have to cancel the fight because not enough people were interested in it.
No one wants to see that. No one wants to see that.
Logan Paul can suck it. All right.
No one wants to see that. Like Logan and Jake. This is the problem with boxing is and not in the UFC. They every time Dana White tries to do a circus fight in the UFC, the fans chew him out. And boxing,
yeah, it should be that way.
In boxing, it's just circus fights, and it's annoying because there's a couple of guys like Canelo, and Tyson Fury, and Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua, that are legit amazing fighters, and they don't get the credit for boxing because it's all just been – boxing is also such an old legacy like sport. There's like all these unified belts and these things and that things and these promoters and everyone gets paid in cash and no one's going to tell you what's really going on. And it's just like it's frustrating. You want boxing to kind of clean up its act a bit because it's a very cool, like, it can be a very cool sport again. Like the UFC, I love what the UFC is doing, and I love mixed martial arts. So if you guys, I think it's a free fight tomorrow. You don't have to pay for it. I think you got to have like ESPN Plus. But there's a big heavyweight fight on the line. Winner basically gets the next shot at the title after Nagano, or maybe it's no, not the next shot at the title, but they get in line. Anyway, heavyweight fight tomorrow. Also, my buddy Cody Stamen's fighting on that card. He's a Michigan boy, so got to be there to cheer him on. And it's like it's just
where are they fighting at, and is there going to be any crowd?
They're fighting in Vegas, and there's going to be no crowd.
There's no crowd.
There's going to be 2 fans. You can enter to win this. Actually, these UFC like contests, like sweepstakes. You can enter to win and to be one of 2 fans for UFC 259, which has got 3 title fights on the card. 3.
Life is strange.
It's one of the few times in UFC history, but you can, they'll pay for your airfare, they'll pay for your hotel, and
Is it going to be in Vegas?
It's in Vegas. It's at the Apex, so they'll be at the Apex for like 2 months, I think, because it's like they'll do 1 month in Abu Dhabi, 2 months in Vegas, 1 month in Abu Dhabi. They'll do all the international fighters for a month in Abu Dhabi, and then the American international fighters in Abu Dhabi, and then just like all American fighters in like Vegas, and also some foreign guys. Yeah, also the European guys. So it's just like it depends on how the travel. There's travel restrictions, so it just depends on where the travel restrictions line up and match up, and how they can make it work. So, expect the next 2 months in the UFC to be in Vegas.
Manny, are you still writing for MMA stuff or no? Were you writing for MMA stuff? Are you currently or no?
We'll see. The tryout.
Okay.
We had a trial period. I think it went well. We'll see. But I did about what was it, 10 or 12 articles last month on mixedmartialarts.com. So
Cool. Yeah. Well, we are way over time. I'm going to about ready to pass out. We thank you all for sticking with us. We covered a tremendous amount. We covered racing, we covered EV, we covered music, we covered Marilyn Manson and his issues, we covered Tool, we covered MMA. We did
Bronco, Raptor, Blackwings, Corvettes.
President Joe Biden cannot drive his Corvette any longer, so we covered politics. There we go.
Joe Biden. There's what else did we talk about? We talk about Broncos.
We talk about sports. We talk about football. We talk about fighting. What else we got to talk about? We talk about beer. You want to see my best Joe Biden impression?
You're gonna go to sleep?
No, I wasn't gonna go there. But anytime I get asked a question at work that I don't know the answers, I just go, "Look, come on, man." That's just what I do, and it works.
Will you shut up, man?
Come on, man.
I was a couple years ago. I think it was 2000. It was 2016. He was at the Detroit Auto Show, and I was legit like 5 feet from the guy.
How tall is he?
It's not that tall.
Is he taller than me?
Yeah, maybe.
Then he's tall.
I don't know. I'll send you the photo.
All right, you do that. Is there a yardstick next to him?
No, but you can like tell.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You know who's a huge man? Jay Leno. Since we talked about him before.
Jay's a big boy.
He's just everything about him is large. His face and his head. Yeah. Remember when Chris, when we saw him at SEMA, we're like
He
his
popped
head's
out of
the
that
size of
Camaro.
half of my body. So,
Yep.
all right, we got to wrap up.
All right, guys.
Thank you all for watching. Thank you, Race
Thank
City
you,
Woodward,
Race City
Zach,
Woodward, Zach stuff. Yep.
G-Man from Sweden.
Thank you,
And,
Sweden.
AJ, resident Mustang guy. We'll never forget you.
Thank you,
Always
KBF.
appreciate you. Manny, thank you, and the rest of the writing staff at musclecarsandtrucks.com for making such great editorial, bringing non-boring car stuff to you.
Salad.
Oh, that's right.
Salad.
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 We're starting to think salad.